Hello. Distracted by a lot of things, not the least of which is that it's Thanksgiving and I'm doing a live stream. I am. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Why not? We do it every day. I am Pugs Moran. This is the High Noon Rant. It's going to be pretty ranty today because there's a lot of there. I know it's Thanksgiving. And I know that people are out of their habits. And although we do this show every Monday through Friday at high noon, so and we love that we have the regs who come by and hang out in the chat room and all that. Not expecting a big chat room presence today. But I do recognize, as a number of people have said, they was like, yeah, I'll listen later. I'm busy doing this. So we're going to do a show just like any other normal show. I'm going to be on live streaming for at least the next couple of hours, as we do, as I say, every Monday through Friday. I am going to be keeping an extra close eye. Is that a thing? Extra close eye on the chat room. Because as I said yesterday, I fancy myself a life coach. I fancy myself an amateur therapist. I've been in therapy for so long. I just figure I can, on the radio, Kelly and I used to do the human growth and development segments. Me and Dr. Schwartz, we launched another call. So what I want to do is I thought, this is one of them times when people are, forced to come together because of bloodlines and tradition and all that kind of thing. You don't need to fight. You don't need to have that. Here's what I want to know. I'm going to be hanging out here, right? I'll be giving you a regular high noon rant. And I'll tell you what that is, too, if you're unfamiliar in a second. I'll be hanging out here. But also, I want to know, what did your uncle just say? You know what I mean? Oh, my God, can you believe he said that? I want to know it all. Let's talk about it. Before you make a decision, maybe you want to confront somebody. Maybe you're wondering, is this a good subject to bring up at dinner? Bring it to the chat room today. That's what we're here for. We're here. I'm distracted. This is, I guess performance-wise, this is going to be a bit of a different show because, I'm watching football, and I'm going to be doing my rant. What is the High Noon Rant? Well, not only does it occur every Monday through Friday at noon, but it is what I try to do is give you the whole day. I put together all the hot topics, the headlines, the current events, whatever it is that people are buzzing about, whatever the big stories are of the day. I put them together in a list, and then every day at noon, I come on here and I go, okay, here's what you're hearing about. Here's why you're hearing about it. Here's what I think, and we move on. We don't do politics. We do politics in that it's inescapable in modern life, but we don't, I don't care if you're red, I don't care if you're blue. We're non-divisive. Actually, I'm pretty divisive, but not about politics, which is, interesting. Most people are just divisive these days because they're politics. Not me. I go that extra yard. I try to find other things that you'll hate about me. So that's what the show's about. Non-divisive talk radio, the way I wish talk radio would go back to being. Right now, I can't get a job in regular talk radio because, nobody wants. How'd you vote? That's all they care about. They want a certain kind of person. So whatever. So we do this. And you people have been with me now for 2 years, going into our third year. And what is it that you're doing when you're with me? Well, you're listening to a narcissistic middle-aged madman just rant about the world as it unfolds before his very eyes in real time. I do it as a stream of consciousness. What is that? Well, that's just me talking without stopping, without being interrupted, basically starting at one thought, and then we see where we go. It's just stream of consciousness. Here's what I'm talking about now. Here's what I think. I chase rabbits. We go down all kinds of weird paths. We might start out talking about the price of oil, and we'll end up talking about why the best turkey tastes like ham. See, that's a stream of, that's where it takes you. Sometimes it's dead ends, and we got to get back onto the road. And we do. We do it every day, Monday through Friday. That's what the rant is, an uninterrupted stream of consciousness performed by me every day about everything that's happening in the world. Now, I do unveil the show in 4 quarters, this being football Thanksgiving. The football analogy seems to work. First quarter is erstwhile on this day. That's the first segment we do every show, erstwhile on this day. What is that? Previously on this day in history. It's we look back at this day in history, and I try to find little things that I can rant on, little things like, oh, I know what this is. These aren't the most significant things, the most important things. Truly, they're just things that I'm interested in. So we do that. That's first quarter. Second quarter is birthdays. We look at people who were born on this day. And again, same rules apply. Not all the important people, like King Charles II of Belgium. I don't care. I don't care. But if it's like a porn star's birthday, I'll be like, hey, you know whose birthday it is? So that's kind of how we do that as well. Third quarter. The third quarter is the deads. These are the people who died on this day. I love people, oh yeah, people do dead segments. Nah, not like this. Here's how we do the deads. We take a look at the person who died, and with our collective limited understanding of what they were and what they accomplished, we open up their life's resume and we decide, based on our understandings of the Judeo-Christian prerequisite for heaven and hell, we look at them and we go, where'd they go? Where did this person go when they died? Did they go to heaven or did they go to hell? Couple of rules, though. There are a couple of hard and fast rules there. For instance, football coaches all go to hell. Actually, you know what? I gotta say, last night, that new Hard Knocks in season with the Lions, or no, Hard Knocks in season with the Dolphins. I'm sorry, I'm watching the Lions. Mike McDaniel, the head coach of Miami, he might be the exception that proves the rule. He is so unlike any other football coach I've ever seen in my life. He is just different. So I can't just blindly assign all football coaches go to hell. When I see a guy behaving the way Mike McDaniel, he seems different, so needs to be considered. Or possibly he is the exception that proves the rule. And then so the deads, that's the third quarter. First quarter, erstwhile on this day. Second quarter, birthdays. Third quarter, the deads. Fourth quarter, that's when we get into the bulk of the day. All the things that are happening, all the events that are breaking before our very eyes. Okay, so if you're with me and you're ready, let's get started. But first and foremost, we got to tell you how this show fuels itself. This show fuels itself by your tips. That's right. We do solicit tips. You can drop something in Venmo. You can drop something in the Cash App at any time. Cash App at any point. I'll leave that up. People who tip, biggest tip of the day, gets to be the executive producer for this day. The next day's show. Excuse me. I was cooking. I was preparing something, and I'm a little gassier than maybe I would be on a normal Thursday. It is Thanksgiving. The executive, actually not even executive producers, although they are executive producers. I would like to announce that today's Thanksgiving show is being brought to you by, that's right, it's brought to you by Dustin and Danielle's Midwest Family Thanksgiving. Thank you so much to my old friends. Let me tell you a bit about these people. These people are great. So we did a lot of stuff. Like Kelly and I did a lot of stuff with listeners, over the years. We that was like our big thing. That was our big hook. When we came to Dallas, we were a bunch of carpetbagging Yankees from Chicago. Ain't nobody wanted to hear nothing from us. So we decided very early on that what we needed to do is just make as many friends as possible. Apply the marketing rule of 200. If we can go out and we can find one person and we can make that one person think that we're the nicest people, they will somehow in their life over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours affect 200 people with the interaction. Meaning they'll go to work and go, hey, I met Pugs and Kelly and they were great. Anyway, that was the idea because the station wasn't going to promote us or anything. So that's why we did things like on our first night in town, we were like, hey, let's all go to the movies. Let's meet in the parking lot of the radio station. And then a whole bunch of you came out and we went to the movies. So we sort of made that a cornerstone, and it's why we were able to succeed when a bunch of other shows that were out of town carpetbaggers didn't. So thank you to all you good people who came out and hung out with us and made us feel welcome. We would go on trips too. Like sometimes we'd go to Mexico and, some travel agency would get involved and they'd offer deals. And you come to Mexico with us, or you come to, where do we go? We went to Mexico. Where else do we take listeners? Ireland, Iceland, all over the place. We did a lot of really cool, back when radio was fun. We did a lot of cool trips. On one of the trips to Mexico, we met a young couple, Dustin and Danielle. And I don't know what it was. I mean, you meet a lot of people and like, I don't know, for some reason, we just really liked them. Like they were like the most, I know what it was. Like Kelly and I, when we saw this couple, we saw not that we didn't like them as people, but we saw them as professionals in the media. We saw them as our prime target demo. And if they liked that, that's what we were going for. We were going for that smart, young, upwardly mobile Man, woman, that's what our show is about. And we really saw that in them. And what really made us happy about that discovery was that they turned out to be cool, and we like hung out with them like that whole trip. And we're not close friends because they have lives and all that stuff, but they have stayed in touch through the social medias, and Dustin is a supporter of this show, or I should say the entire Seeley family. So thank you. Appreciate that. So today's High Noon Report, or rant, whichever you want to call it, is brought to you by just like the embodiment of like just the perfect American, perfect Texans. They're just nice suburban family, gorgeous little kids. Not so little anymore, though. All right, so thank you. All right, what do you say we get started here with the rant? First and foremost, what's going on with the Lions, for crying out loud? I guess they just made, okay, so they just did something good on defense, apparently. 20-6. 20-6. Packers up over the Lions. It's still early. I mean, it's just second quarter started. So hold on, let me watch this play, and then I'll get started with the rant. Who's that? Is that Montgomery? Yeah. All right, anyway, I am not going to be distracted by football, or am I? Because, this is not a traditional show. You may notice I'm not even wearing my traditional show uniform, my black on black. That's in the wash. I did a whole bunch of laundry last night. So why not? It's a Thanksgiving show. Hi, Byron. I want to say hi to Byron. Mexico, shut up. Shut up, Byron. Not Mexico. That's awful. Cameron is here. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Cameron. Bill is here. Bill says, enjoying my first Thanksgiving alone. You're right, Pugs. Not so bad. It's not so bad. I mean, it is not so bad if you otherwise have an emotionally fulfilling life. Like if you can spend but if you're spending every day alone and you're kind of feeling excluded from the ways of the world, then. But I don't think that's the case for Bill and me. It's certainly not the case for me. I mean, trust me, you guys sit here every day and you watch me. You just watch me for 2 hours. Just go blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm not lonely like you guys. And then I've got, what? Honestly, it's Thanksgiving, so we should talk about the people that we're thankful for. And there are a number of people that I, could say that I'm thankful for. First and foremost, man, I just have the best mom in the world. And I can't tell you how happy I am for her, how happy she is. Oh, now I'm getting emotional. So I'm thankful for my mom's situation. What else? Thankful for my closest friends in the whole world. Man, I got a crew of like 3 guys that I'm not going to say their names. You guys know their names, but man, they're amazing. They're amazing. So, I got a lot to be thankful for. I got great people in my life. My son is amazing. My son is checking all the boxes. It's like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Oh my God. Is he going to start killing animals? I mean, what is going to happen here? He's a standout athlete. He's a straight A honor roll, National Honor Society student. He's good, like good, like his heart is good. He's a bully buster. He used to get in trouble for fighting at school, but it was always because he was like bully busting. I don't know. So there's a lot to be thankful for. This is it's a good holiday with bad food. I'll get to that in a minute. We'll talk about how bad the food is. So to you and yours, and you folks too, man. I say this a lot, which is why it's almost forgettable for me at this point. But thank you to you people, the folks who watch this show every day. Whether you're just listening to it as an audio thing or whether you're watching it on YouTube later, or the people who join me every day to actually watch the show. Thank you to you guys, man. You guys literally keep the show going, but also you keep me going. And that's, I don't know, you can't really put a price tag on that. So, okay, so let's get started. It's the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. Get ready. 2 hours of uninterrupted thoughts, unfiltered, no breaks, no nothing. Happy Thanksgiving. It is the 23rd day of November, year of our Lord, 2023. Did you know that November 23rd happens to be the 327th day of the year? Quick math. 38 days left. That's what there is. 38 left of these. All right, let's do our little segment that we like to call Erstwhile on this day. Previously on if you're so inclined, or on this day in history. Just a new name for a thing that's been done by every bad radio show in history, but this is done through my... See, I always say, don't, like a program director might say, don't do this day in history. Everybody does this day in history. And I used to always say, like, program directors, but everybody isn't me. Like, yes, I am going... That's like saying, don't ever wear blue. Everybody wears blue. Yeah, but blue kind of looks good on me. I'm going to wear blue. No, but the other thing, following Howard, it was really difficult because Howard covered the world like nobody else. If there was one thing to touch on, Howard would touch on it. So by the time Kelly and I would get to our show, we'd get callers going, Howard already talked about this. I go, yeah, and there's another perspective. And it's Kelly's and it's mine. And yeah, so here we go. That's what erstwhile on this day is. It's just a fancy new brand name for something people have been doing, but I do it differently. Like in this case, on this day in 1876, corrupt Tammany Hall leader William Meager, otherwise known as Boss Tweed. Boss Tweed was captured in Spain by authorities. He went on the lam. Did we know this? This is the dude from Gangs of New York. This is, the great Gangs of New York movie, Boss Tweed, Tammany Hall, the corruption of New York City back in the day. I guess I didn't remember this part of the story. I figured Boss Tweed just retired a rich guy. I didn't know they finally got him. And they did on this day in 1876. On this day in 1921, Warren G. Harding, the 29th president of these here United States, signs the Willis-Campbell Act into law. What is this? The Willis-Campbell Act prohibited doctors from prescribing beer and liquor as medicine. I guess this was what? 1921. So we were in Prohibition. All right. On this day in 1963, the BBC, that's probably... I bet there were a lot of doctors with gambling habits who got under, Capone's boys. And Capone's boys were like, hey, prescribe me 1,000, 1,000 kegs of beer for the speakeasies. On this day in 1963, the BBC broadcasts An Unearthly Child. BBC on this day. They aired a thing called An Unearthly Child. Why is this significant? Because it would be so popular, it would go on to be the first episode. It was supposed to be just a thing, but it would go on to be a whole first episode of Doctor Who, the longest running nerd fest in television history. Barely handled the Star Trek people. Ugh. The Doctor Who people. My God, that's like a whole different... I should be the Doctor Who generation because that's, it was at its hippest, I guess, when I was 17 through 22. And that was when it had the guy with the fro, the big nose and the fro, and it was on your PBS station. And if you were an educated teen who thought you were sophisticated, you might dabble with the local PBS station and catch Doctor Who. You were already there, probably from Monty Python, but maybe sometimes you stuck around for Doctor Who. Not me. I got one look at Doctor Who and I was like, this is really bad and stupid. And here's the thing. It was so bad and stupid that I assumed that the episodes I was watching were 20 years old, but they weren't. The BBC's filming techniques were just so far behind that of Hollywood that I was used to American TV. Benny Hill. Remember watching Benny Hill in 1979 when they first syndicated Benny Hill? And as a kid, maybe you were like, yeah, this looks like this is from a different era. This looks like maybe it was made in the early 1960s, early color. No! Benny Hill was being shot and syndicated in real time. Same thing with Doctor Who. It seemed unnecessarily chintzy. And it never grabbed me. I was on this day in 1963, the first episode of Doctor Who. You bring that up at dinner. See, these are good things to bring up at dinner. You don't have to be like, hey, did you hear about the tranny law? You don't have to do that. And when somebody does do that, go, quick, what's the longest running television show in history that debuted on this day? And then you have a little game. Now look what you've done. You've taken control of your dinner table. And now you're talking about nerd stuff. And then somebody goes, that show's for nerds. Now you got a whole other thing that you can be arguing about at the dinner table other than politics. Is Doctor Who, Doctor Who, is it for nerds or not? And then leave the room. And then just, I was on this day, 1963, Doctor Who, first episode. On this day in 1991, I don't know that I remember it happening this way. I'm going to read the description of what occurred on this day, and I mean, we'll all of a certain age will remember it, but I guess I wasn't aware that it happened this quickly. On this day in 1991, Queen lead singer Freddie Mercury announces in a statement that he is HIV positive. He announced on this day that he's HIV positive. He dies the next day. See, that's the thing. I don't remember that being the case. I mean, do you remember? Like, I don't know. I guess I just assumed that we knew he was HIV positive, and then he died like 6 months later. I didn't realize that it was right up at the last moment that he. I mean, that bespeaks a man who was, definitely still self-conscious about what his, different time, man, different time. When are we talking here? 1991. Hard to be gay in 1991. Probably not as hard as 1961, but still hard. So, it's a breeze now. It's cool to be gay now. 2021, 2022, 2020, it became cool. Actually, probably became cool before that. But yeah, that's another one of those things. Freddie Mercury is one of these guys. Okay, so I'm really good at two things, right? I'm really good at mini golf, and I'm really good at judging people. Like when I meet somebody for the first time, just give me like a couple of minutes with them, and I'll have a pretty solid idea of who they are. Good guy, bad guy, but more than that, nuanced stuff. I'm my DAR is very finely tuned. So even as like a teenager, I always knew that Freddie Mercury was gay. And I had a friend, my best friend was super into Queen. And he was also a bit of a 1980s homophobe, as I think probably all of us were, at least publicly. It was what was expected. Scared kids played by the rules. So whatever, fag, that's how we were. But my friend loved Queen, and I was always like, you know what I mean? But I was also the guy who always knew about the Village People. Like even 10 years earlier, I'm like, these guys are all gay. And my friends were like, no, they're not. And which wasn't the response. The civilized response should have been, why does that matter? But that wasn't the response. Village People are gay. No, they're not. Because that would be the worst thing in the world. Yeah, that's how our minds were. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I always knew. I mean, and now in retrospect, a number of comedians have pointed out that, the band's name was Queen. Fat bottom girls, it's just there were clues. The leather, there were clues. Just like Judas Priest. Although I have to be honest, I didn't. Here was my thing with Judas Priest. Rob Halford, lead singer of Judas Priest, who was gay and apparently fairly openly gay. It wasn't no big secret. I wasn't surprised when Rob Halford, when it was like, hey, the singer from Judas Priest is gay. My reaction to that was probably, yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, that was probably my reaction. Whereas other people's reaction was, what? Like they didn't see it. Like you didn't see it with Rob Halford and Judas Priest. I did, so I'm a good judge of character. I always knew Queen was, curious, at the very least, sexually curious, maybe not all of them. I mean, I can't speak to, Brian May but Freddie, I always looked at Freddie and I was like, yeah, he seems like a gay man. I wish he could be happy, and he wasn't, and he died. And up until the very last minute, he refused to admit that he even had HIV. And it was on this day in 1991 that Queen lead singer Freddie Mercury announced that he had. Well, by the way, I'm going to put Freddie Mercury in heaven. I know we are doing a show tomorrow, so there you go. Freddie Mercury died tomorrow. We'll put him in heaven. On this day in 1992, the first smartphone. What? 1992? The first smartphone? What? On this day in 1992, the first smartphone, the IBM Simon, is introduced at Comdex at Las Vegas. What took you guys 20 years? What, I mean, smartphone, we didn't get like iPhones until like 2006, 2005, something like that, 7 maybe. All right, there you go. On this day in 2015, Blue Origin's New Shepard space vehicle became the first rocket to successfully fly to space and then return to Earth for a controlled vertical landing. Cool. cool. Honestly, that's going to do it. It's not really a big eventful day in history. Got to be honest. All right, let's move into quarter two. They say it's their birthdays. These are people who were born on this day. We look at their lives and decide, are they cool or not? Franklin Pierce was born on this day. We only mention him because turns out he was a president. Yeah, I know. Like if someone was like putting screws to my head and they were like, is Franklin Pierce a president? I'd be like, of course, because, it sounds right. But he has got to be. We always talk about the spare presidents on this show because we run into their birthdays all the time. And if you're a president, I'll give you a birthday mention. But this has got to be one of the sparest of the spare presidents. Franklin Pierce. What did he do? Born on this day in 1988. Here's a guy who did some stuff and said very little about it. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday to one of my favorite comedy performers of all time, the great, the unstoppable Harpo Marx. I love Harpo. Harpo was so cool. First of all, I love the Marx Brothers. I love everything about the Marx Brothers as a comedy team. And by the way, actors, they're comedic actors. This is different than stand-up or sketch or improv. These are comedy actors. Like a comedy scene being acted out with the Marx Brothers in it is hysterical because they're all doing different things. They're all completely different types of comedians. Groucho is one of the wittiest sons of bitches that there has ever been. Groucho, man, you listen, you hang on every word that he says, and he's genius. The writing, Groucho was a brilliant writer. Then you have Chico. Chico's kind of the con man who's kind of doing this character study of like a guy. Should you trust him? Should you not trust him? Then you got Harpo. Harpo is like the special needs kid, but he's not. It's never, is Harpo deaf? I don't know. Does Harpo just choose to communicate with his horn? Harpo as a physical comedian was funny. That's what Harpo did. Harpo was the fall down the pratfall, the physical guy, only spoke with the horn. They were great. Happy birthday, Harpo Marx. And again, this is another one of those things, one of those comedy things that stands the test of time. And I've tested it because I remember forcing my 9-10-year-old kid to watch YouTube videos with me of Marx Brothers scenes. And without any garbage, just purely innocent, looking to enjoy the comedy of it, howled. This kid howled at it. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, that's funny, because funny is funny. Harpo Marx was funny. Born on this day in 1888. Born on this day in 1948. How about Bruce Vilanch? We spent a whole lot of time last night on the Radio Misfits show, which is our 9 p.m. stream. Spent a whole lot of time talking about what did John Oates do in the whole Hall and Oates pair. I argued that John Oates did a lot, just it was behind the scenes. He didn't get any credit for it, and it's easy for stupid people to go, hey, he didn't do nothing. I offered up a red herring and Andrew Ridgely. James didn't take the bait, but whatever. Bruce Vilanch is celebrating a birthday. I don't know why this guy is famous. He's a comedy writer. He's one of the most sought-after comedy writers. What would he have done? He always writes the jokes for the award shows. Well, those jokes always suck. That's like the point of it. They're always so cheesy and bad. Yeah, he's great. Bruce Vilanch is celebrating a birthday. He's a comedy writer. He's not a good one. He's weird. He was, if you don't know who Bruce Vilanch is, the Hollywood Squares. They brought him back. They made him like the center square or whatever, the Paul Lynde guy. And he had the crazy long hair. He was heavy-set, crazy blonde, frizzy hair. Always wore like psychedelic tie-dyed shirts and big beard and all that. How would I describe his manner? Anti-masculine? Let's do that. Let's call him anti-masculine. Uber flamboyant, anti-masculine. I don't know. I just don't know what he does and why he became famous. I don't understand Bruce Vilanch's appeal and never have. All right, moving on. Born on this day in 1948, Bruce Vilanch. Born on this day in 1954, Bruce Hornsby. And that's just the way it is. Look what I did there, old folks. That's a joke for us. Bruce Hornsby. Man, what a weird time in music, right? Especially to be young. Because we were young. This was before Nirvana. I mean, there was a whole lot of Motley Crue stuff going on. And then out of nowhere, they gave us Bruce Hornsby. That's just the way it is. This like beautifully arranged piano music. I don't know. And we all liked it. We loved Bruce Hornsby in the Range. We liked that. And then I don't know. Then he never kind of went. And then he start playing with the Grateful Dead? Didn't he like join the Grateful Dead or something? Anyway, there you go. Happy birthday, Bruce Hornsby, born on this day in 1954. Hello, man. I'm trying to think how did his song go? He had a bunch of songs, didn't he? Yeah, moving on. Born on this day in 1959. 1959. Yeah, 1959. This was the era. Okay. So, I talk a lot about the Hollywood Clone Factory. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with my theories on the Hollywood Clone Factory, it is that Hollywood has been operating a factory where they produce replicas of popular, proven actors and stuff like that for years and years and years. Look no further than Jimmy Stewart into Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is the exact same actor as Jimmy Stewart, same roles. If Jimmy Stewart was in 2023, he could do all the Tom Hanks. If Tom Hanks was in 1945, he would do the Jimmy Stewart. They're the same thing. That's sort of the epicenter of it. But I've given numerous examples of the Hollywood Clone Factory. Well, here's a guy. You wonder about these people who just disappear. You're like, man, that guy was famous for a while. Your Skeet Ulrich's. Yeah, he was famous for a while. Josh Hartnett. And then nothing. Here's one of those guys. And now this guy came out at a time there were a lot of models. It was the late 70s, early 80s, and they had seen a rise in female independence in Hollywood. They decided, with female sexuality was, on the upswing in the 1970s. So all of this was now trickling down to the next generation. So they needed to readdress the way that they lured young teen girls into movies. So they did a whole new reboot of their clones, right? They had, for a number of years in the 70s, they had been very heavily invested in the Ralph Macchio, Glenn Scarpelli, Scott Baio model. That was sort of an effeminate, non-threatening boy that, dad would approve of and the girls could swoon over. So they had that model. Then the 80s brought a different attitude. And again, it was with the emergence of the younger women in their now young girls were openly talking about sex, something they never did before. It was, shunned. So you had to get a little bit edgier with your guys, right? So that's when Hollywood created what would be, I think now in 2023, you look back, an incredibly successful run of clones. Not all of them made it. Our birthday boy here was one of the discontinued clones. Ladies and gentlemen, born on this day in 1959, out of that really successful clone class, that clone model, there were variants. They made different variants. But we still today know some of these. This is one that was discontinued round about 1992. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday, Maxwell Caulfield. Yeah, you really have to have been around in the 80s to remember this model. Maxwell Caulfield was released in, I'll give you his class, his clone class. Remember, they had moved on from the Glenn Scarpellis and the Scott Baios and the, Ralph Macchios. It moved on from that. Although Ralph Macchio, they rebooted his model with a new karate thing. So he got some added masculinity in the mid 80s. So that's a different model. We can talk about that. But anyway, back to this one. So your Maxwell Caulfields were produced with a line of Maxwell Caulfield, C. Thomas Howells. Those were two that were discontinued, right? We don't. But also in that class that there was a Rob Lowe model, there was a Matt Dillon model, there was a Tom Cruise model. That's right. That was an incredibly successful run of Hollywood clones. Unfortunately, our birthday boy Maxwell Caulfield, he didn't make it. They discontinued. I don't know what it was. I don't know what him and C. Thomas Howell, they were like, Rob Lowe's prettier, and so, okay. So Rob Lowe wins that. And Tom Cruise and Matt Dillon are edgier. They're like, more masculine. So I think that's what happened. I think they saw the redundancies in the C. Thomas Howells and the Matthew Caulfields. Thank you. That's called a stream of consciousness, ran on something completely, I may or may not believe in. Hollywood Clone Factory. You know what my hope is? I hope that somebody crazier than me actually turns this into a conspiracy in the years from now. Somebody finds my rants on the Hollywood clones and this dude was talking about it years ago. That's my hope. I want that for my son. My son is 14. I want my son to maybe posthumously oversee some empire of crazy conspiracy marketing. I don't know. There's money there, probably. There's money in anything, except this. Which brings me to my point. Support the High Noon Show if you do like this kind of radio, talk radio, without all the political divisive BS, yet still informative to a degree. You can tip the show. Tip the show by hitting up Venmo or the Cash App, whatever it is. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, moving back to birthdays now. Chris Hardwick. Oh, God. Chris Hardwick. Chris Hardwick is celebrating a birthday today. He was born on this day in 1971. Chris Hardwick is in another class of Hollywood clone models with different variants, but all the same base model. You guys, this is the Dick Clark model. This is the Dick Clark model clone, Chris Hardwick. He's a variant that was created for MTV. They wanted somebody a little bit more, modern and youthful. So Chris Hardwick was created. Then Chris Hardwick, they didn't make him handsome enough. So then they created the other round of clones that did the exact same thing that Chris Hardwick did, but this one became really successful, and it was called the Carson Daly. They're all Dick Clark clones. Look, a lot of people said, we need a better-looking Chris Hardwick. We like Carson Daly. He's got brown hair, and that appeals to a large group of girls who like darker guys. So Carson Daly, we're going to stick with him. Chris Hardwick isn't that handsome. Is there anything we can do with that model? And they said, sure, we call it a Ryan Seacrest. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Tell me there isn't a Hollywood clone factory. All right, here's a birthday. Here's a birthday girl born on this day in 1987. Here's a question directly for Byron. Would you? All right, that question is for Byron before I reveal whose birthday it is. Byron in the chat room. Byron, would you? Happy birthday, Jersey Shore's Snooki. Snooki celebrating a birthday today. Do you remember Jersey Shore? Jersey Shore, 2000, what are we talking here? 2005, 2006, 2007, something like that. I mean, season 1, episode 1 of Jersey Shore. Byron's going to pass on Snooki. All right. Surprising. I thought Byron was like me. I thought Byron was, pretty much willing to go wherever as long as there's some fame attached to it. That's my rule. My rule, if there's a good story, oh my God, could you imagine the story, Byron? Come on, you do Snooki for the story. You do. If you pass on it for some weird reason, like you're not attracted to it, and then, why? You got the story. You've done worse. Oh, shut up, Byron. You've done worse. I've done worse. Snooki, we're going to pass. No, we're not. It's a good story. You'll dine out on that story. Dude, tell the Snooki story and I'll pick up the tab. That's how it's going to work for you. I'm telling you. It's worth it. Snooki's worth $15 million. I looked up. That's crazy. Snooki. You know what's here was my thing with Jersey Shore that first season. I never liked girls who smoked cigarettes. It was always a turnoff to me. It was hard because like half the girls of my generation smoked cigarettes, in their 20s. Yuck. So I didn't like girls who smoked. And Jersey Shore seems to me to be the last generation representing young people who chain smoked old-timey cigarettes. Remember, those girls just chimneys, man, constantly smoke. And you don't see it anymore. Now they all vape. You hardly ever see kids smoking cigarettes. I will say this about the Jersey Shore girls. JWoww, man. Like, okay, so she's pretty, but man, that JWoww had a body and a bikini. Oh my God. I mean, she was like, how do I say this? She'll start a fight at a stranger's house over like Thanksgiving dinner. Like she's that girl. Like she had one too many drinks, and then all of a sudden we're off to the races because she's a neighborhood girl. She's a neighborhood girl. And I don't mean like this neighborhood where I do the show from. with all these rich kids. And by the way, I saw a bunch of rich kids coming home to daddy and mommy's mansion for Thanksgiving today. But I'm not bitter. Snooki, happy birthday, Snooki. I don't know. She's fine. Snooki was funny, right? Wasn't she the one who was we kind of liked her? We kind of thought she was okay. Snooki? I don't know. All right. Happy birthday to Snooki. Born on this day in 1992. Here's another big birthday. This big star, Miley Cyrus. I don't really know anything about Miley Cyrus. I don't even, from a dirty old man perspective, she doesn't really do anything to me. I don't know why it is. You know who does it for me, though? You know who really does it for me? Her mom. Her mom, Miley Cyrus's mom, is so hot. Oh, God. Okay, sorry. Old guy alert. Happy birthday, Miley Cyrus. All right, let's move on to quarter 3 of today's Thanksgiving show. We call this The Deads. These are the people who died. We crack open the book of life, their life's resume, and we decide, based on our own understanding of how to get into heaven or hell. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Steve. Steve's here. Byron. So I should hang out with the chat room a little bit more today. Is it married? It is. It's married correctly. Let me see who else is popping by, because I do assume we might get some new people here today who don't tune in Monday through Friday at noon. All right, let's go into the deads. This is where we decide who dies, or what God decided who died, if you believe in a God. This is whether they go to heaven or hell. That's how we play this one. Ready? Here we go. Dead on this day in 1990. Roald Dahl. You know who he was? He was that weird ass, what was he, like Dutch? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, the whole Wonka weirdness came out of this dude's head. This dude is in hell. Seriously. Think about what Willy Wonka did. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was different in the movie. Did you ever read the book? Nobody read the book, right? Nobody born after 1950 read the book, right? We all saw the movie. Anyway, I don't know if the book is as graphically violent as the movie is, but there are children that are murdered at the hands of this guy. So, yeah, Roald Dahl, well, you're going to hell. We're not even going to think twice about it. Dead on this day in 1991, Klaus Kinski. Again, preemptively, man, this guy is going to hell. Klaus Kinski. First of all, he was German, and he was a German actor, and he was part of the Berlin, Prague art scene of the early 1970s, where there were no rules about anything. This was a generation that had gone through Nazism. They saw what their grandparents were capable of and their parents, and they had no rules, be it sexually or anything. Klaus Kinski was an actor. He's revered, and he pushed his daughter on the world, Natasha Kinski. And there was a very creepy relationship between father and daughter that was openly accepted in the press as, isn't this interesting? You typically don't see a father and daughter kiss like that. Oh well, they must be European. That's how we looked at it. He's in hell. I'm telling you, Klaus Kinski. Look it up. Dead on this day in 1992, Roy Acuff. Who was this guy? This guy's one of them country guys. Hi, I'm Roy Acuff. Like probably smiling and happy, right? I'm the nicest guy in the world. I don't like coloreds much, but other than that, he's one of those guys. I don't know. I don't know anything about him, so we're putting him in heaven. Roy Acuff. I don't know enough about him other than when I think of him, I think of him as like the smiling guy. I'm picking and I'm great. Is that even him? I don't know. But just based on no knowledge of this man, the name Roy Acuff here's how this is how I decide. If I know nothing about someone and I still feel the need to rant, I will just think of their name, and is it like dark or light? Like is their name in my mind dark? He's light, so I guess that means lack of any information. Roy Acuff goes to heaven. 2012, the world lost a boss. I think he's going to hell. I don't know. We need to talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, the world lost Larry Hagman. On this day in 2012, J.R. Ewing. But no. Look, man, let's not just boil the man down to J.R. Ewing. I don't think that was his greatest role. I'm a major Anthony Nelson fan. That's right. I believe that I loved likable Larry Hagman. And that's one of the reasons why he's so effective as JR, because the entire country thought of him as Major Anthony Nelson from I Dream of Jeannie. He was like the good guy. He was, oh, everybody loves Major Anthony Nelson. And he went and played JR. And he became like a saucy old coot. Like he became, you know what? He's in hell. You know he's in hell. He had stories. I've heard stories. They're all coming back now. J.R. Ewing is in hell. Well, Larry Hagman's in hell. J.R. Ewing would have gone to hell too. But Larry Hagman's in hell, now that I think this through. And you know what? He wants to be there. He's one of them. He's perfectly fine. Dead on this day in 2014, Marion Barry. Let's just go ahead. Let's go ahead and put this weirdo. I couldn't begin to tell you the details of Marion Barry's corruption and what the scandal was, because every time I think I know a Marion Barry detailed, it turns into that Rob Ford guy from Toronto. This is so weird. They're like the same thing. They like did the same thing. Both of them smoking crack on camera. Both of them got reelected. I don't get white people, black people, man. We're all the same. We're just humans. We're all freaking idiots who reelect the same obviously bad guy for one reason or another. All right, there you have it. Marion Barry, dead on this day in 2014. Dead on this day in 2016. Here's another one. Oh, God, here's another guy that I want. Like, okay, he's a good guy, but he's going to hell, and I think he wants to go to hell. Joe Esposito died on this day in 2016. You know who Joe Esposito was? Joe Esposito, he was Elvis's best friend. He was the leader of the Memphis Mafia. You wanted to get close to him, man, you would go through Joe. Man, talk to Joe. Talk to Espy. He was awesome. Saw a lot of stuff and didn't say a damn word to any authority. You just know. Joe Esposito, fascinating guy, ended up writing a whole bunch of books about his time as Elvis's best friend. He was Lisa Marie's godfather. He was Elvis's best man. Check this out. How cool is this? You know how they met? You know, Joe. I've read all of Joe Esposito books. He's cool. He saw some stuff. He was just a dude. I think he was from New York. Hold on. He was just a dude in basic training in the Army whose bunk was next to this other dude named Elvis Presley. Remember when Elvis Presley joined the Army and just was thrown in with all these normies? Well, the normie that was bunked right next to Elvis Presley was this guy named Joe Esposito, and Joe Esposito and Elvis Presley became best friends. They were both stationed in Frankfurt, Germany together. Espy was there when Elvis met Priscilla. I mean, my God. And then could you imagine that? I mean, you're like an 18-year-old kid and you're in the Army and you're like, what am I going to do with my life? I don't know. Maybe hang out with this dude forever. I mean, it had to have been a good paying job and a wonderful life experience. Think of it. I mean, you don't have to be Elvis, but you are a fly on the wall. You're seeing it all. You're experiencing it all. The unbelievable shrimp cocktails. There's one for you. Free drinks. They're there for you too. That'd be cool. Joe Esposito, man, had an awesome life. All right, folks, that's going to do it. That's the dead people segment of this here show. Now we're going to move into quarter four. Quarter four is when we talk about all the events that are happening on this very day. Now, what are the events of this day? They're few and far between. There are a couple of things that we'll do a little light cleaning up from yesterday's stories. And then, there's one piece of big news. And then a bunch of stupid stuff because it's Thanksgiving. Does that mean that there's nothing happening in the world? No, it just means that all the reporters are off today. So it doesn't seem like there's anything big happening. That's all. All right, so let's get started. Once again, I'll remind you, this show runs on your gratuities. If you are so inclined and would like to drop a little something in, tip jar, I'm going to leave that up there. I want y'all to have a happy Thanksgiving regardless, and I appreciate you just being here. All right, let's get started. Big story, Israel, as we start out. Hold on, what's happening here in the game? It's now 23-6. Yeah, Goff just threw it to absolutely nobody. Man, look, can I just say something about the Detroit Lions? They almost lost on Sunday to the Bears. I watched that entire game. I'm a Bear fan. The Bears played a hell of a game. Justin Field was on fire. That game was awesome. And then the Bears defense showed why they're the worst team. And the Bears defense let them come back, and the Detroit Lions won. And a whole bunch of out-of-town stupid, a whole bunch of people who didn't actually watch the whole game like I did, the ESPN morning shows and all that stuff, the guys who just watch the highlights and then have to formulate a hot take for camera, that's what they do. I mean, they don't watch they don't watch the actual breakdowns until days later. So the hot takes the morning after on Monday are always hysterical because the stuff they use to prep hasn't been produced yet, and it's not available on YouTube when they hit the air at 7:00 in the morning. So the out-of-town stupid was, the Lions are the best team in the NFC, man. They took control of that game, and they just came back, and they were just unstoppable. And anybody who watched that game was like, no, the Lions didn't win that game. The Bears collapsed because they're one of the worst teams in all of football. That's what happened. It wasn't some great show of authority or dominance by the Lions. The Denver Broncos did the exact same thing to this Bear team 3 weeks ago. The Bears and Justin Fields were dominating them. And then late in the fourth quarter, the defense collapsed and they, let them back in. So I don't know. My point is this. I'm not entirely sold on the Detroit Lions being as good as everybody says. Oh, they're the best team. They're the best team in the NFC. What about the Eagles? The Eagles are the best team in the NFC. And there are questions about the 49ers for sure. But other than the Eagles, who's there? That's why people are trying to anoint the Lions. And the Lions are being carved up by Jordan Love right now. Maybe Jordan Love can play. Who knows? Maybe I shouldn't say it like that. Maybe my hatred of the Green Bay Packers bias has me, phrasing things unfairly for Jordan Love. Who knows? Anyway, all right, let's get into it. Israel. See, I don't want to get into this. This is about hostages and negative stuff and ugh. All right, so there is a truce. The truce begins at midnight tonight. Israel has agreed to stop the bombardment of Gaza. Hamas has promised that they're going to release, 13 hostages. These hostages will be released tomorrow, 9 a.m., I believe is the time that we saw, 9 a.m. Eastern, so 8 a.m. Israel is, as we speak, still bombing the hell out of Palestine. It's still going on. They're going to cease fire at midnight. Boop. It just right at midnight, it'll stop. And then a few hours later, the first hostages will be released. 13. It is believed that the hostages are all from the same families. So these are entire families that are being released. CNN had an incredibly well-timed interview with one of the families of the hostages who were taken, who in the middle of the interview were informed that their loved one was not going to be released. Ugh. Oh, my God. All right, so let's move on to better things because it is Thanksgiving. Like this, the Macy's Day Parade. Hey, did you guys watch the Macy's Day Parade? No, of course you didn't. Because you're normal people. The Macy's Day Parade. What are parades? Let me tell you something. I got no time in my life for the non-drinking parade. The non-drinking parade should not exist. It's propaganda. It's jingoism. I don't even know what the point of a non-drinking parade is. Well, Pugs, what do you mean a non-drinking parade? I mean, like a Thanksgiving Day parade. A Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is a non-drinking parade. Maybe you're having some spiked cider, some warm cider, something like that. But it's for family and it's for kids and it's about wholesome. It's about that. It's a non-drinking parade. St. Patrick's Day Parade, that's a drinking parade. That's just a party and fill the streets. Gay Pride, that's a drinking parade. That's a fun parade. I can see why you'd want to go and have a good time there. But, the Thanksgiving parade, the Christmas Day Parade is not a drinking parade. I don't know what the New Year's wrote. What is I don't think the New Year's parade is a drinking. I think it's a hungover parade. I think that's a hungover parade. Yeah. I don't know if people are really still pounding on New Year's Day. 4th of July is the interesting one because you would think 4th of July is a drinking day. Yeah, it is, but it's not a drinking parade. That's why 4th of July parades are always held at like 10 a.m. and they're always done by like 1 a.m. because on 4th of July, Dad starts knocking beers back at a clip of about one every 15 minutes. So you have the 4th of July parade early, and then at like 6 o'clock over the grill is when somebody notices that Dad is going back and forth. You are fucked up on the 4th of July for sure, but it's not. The parade occurs earlier. And again, that's about jingoism, propaganda, wholesomeness, America, all of that. I only like the drinking parades. Yeah, St. Pat's, that'd be the only one. And I don't even know, so what is the point of a parade? Like parades were created as a promotion for something. or a way for a community to celebrate an achievement, right? That I get, because in 1850, the only way to say, "Hey, thank you for beating the Huns," was to turn out in the streets and go, "Yay!" But that's, we have stadiums now. We can do one-offs. Parades seem old-timey to me. Like there's no reason for them. I mean, I guess they're nice. They're nice little community celebrations. So I'm not like anti-parade. I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of questioning what their point is. Oh, their point is to get the community together and some nice wholesome fun. Unless it's a drinking parade, then it's get the kids in the house and lock the doors. All right. Anyway, there was an incident at today's. Let's pull this up, shall we? Where is this? Some protesters. These were pro-Palestinian protesters. So this is sort of a new wrinkle with protesters, where they are now like super gluing themselves to things. And man, what is that about? Like, why would you do that? Why, like, what is you're gonna like get your hand ripped apart, right? Like, that they're not just gonna be delicate. You are willingly offering to, like, need skin graft surgery or whatever, because they are here. We'll give you a look at these people. This occurred. Ugh, hold on. This occurred at the Macy's Day Parade this morning. These are pro-Palestinian protesters, and they've taken their hands and they've glued them to the street, and they just get their hands ripped open. I don't like. Are these people? Do they think? Oh, they wouldn't dare. Really, in this day and age, you're causing a disruption with a crowd of this size. You don't think the police would dare take any means necessary to eliminate the threat? You're like doing something that is not allowed in front of thousands of spectators. Yeah, it's New York City on Thanksgiving during a war. Yeah, we're gonna rip the skin right off your hand. If you think that this is going to stop us, you're a fool. So here it is. And I am not, by the way, let me be clear. I am certainly not taking the side of one or the other. I'm not saying that these protesters, what they're protesting is right or wrong. I'm simply saying it is misguided to think that you're not going to incur a serious injury using this new method of super gluing yourself. They will just tear you off, and they'll worry about that later. Public sentiment is on the side of security maintaining order, especially in these very scary times. So here we go. So the parade had to be stopped, and then at times, I guess, because people were super glued, some of the parade floats went around them. You see, look at that guy. What is that? Like a car's car? All right. Well, the good news is that this was just a bunch of people who now have to go to the emergency room to get like skin grafts or whatever. Is that a number? I don't think that's something you can just go to the emergency room for. But my point is, God, we've seen it at basketball games. We saw it a couple basketball games last year, and that seems even worse because it seems like a highly adhesive super glue type material on a basketball court, on that wood, your skin to that seems like that's gonna really catch. I don't know so much about blacktop, because that's what the streets of New York are. I don't know. I don't know. It seems more granular at the surface. Like you might be able to pull up, like your hand will just be covered in rocks. I don't know. Whatever. That happened at the Macy's Day Parade. How about this Rainbow Bridge incident? This is crazy. Let me see. Where's the let's see. The Rainbow Bridge incident, it's a crossing. Let me pull it up. It's a crossing there, Niagara Falls. This occurred yesterday. Let's see. We got video. We'll watch the video and then we'll talk about it. A dude in a Bentley, a $300,000 Bentley. Is that it? All right, hold on. Let's see what this is. All right, I guess this is a CNN report. I thought we had the video of the car. I saw the video of the car just sailing through the air. Crazy. And I'll tell you the details, or at least what we know at this point. Here we go. This is CNN. I hope they show the video.
Well, investigators have been going backwards through the day of the person they believe to be the driver of that car, and what they see is a 56-year-old man from the area. He lives in a very upscale island. 56
right,
through
so
the
here we
day
go.
of the person they believe to be the driver of that car, and what they see is...
All right, so you got to look over here, out here, okay? So it's going to happen out here, just barely out of frame. You're going to see there's a road that goes this way, and you're going to see this guy come roaring through.
A 56
There he is. Okay.
6-year-old.
Now, that's a 56-year-old driving a $300,000 Bentley. Silver Spur, I think. All right, let's go back one more. We'll see it again from the start.
Day of the person they believe to be the driver of that car, and what they see is a 56-year-old man from the area. He lives in a very upscale island, and that's not far away, who had intended to go to the Kiss concert, which was canceled, then changed his plans to a casino where he spent some time.
Look at that explosion.
And then leaves the casino and then drives at a high rate of speed along this road.
I don't need this guy to tell you what happened. I can tell you what happened. Okay, so he's a 56-year-old super rich guy. He's like a real rich guy. They were showing, like, I saw like an aerial photo of where he lives. He lives on like a private island with like a bunch of other super rich guys. Who knew like upstate New York had like private islands and stuff? Anyway, well, I mean, anyone who's familiar with the Great Lakes knows that they're littered with islands, but especially Lake Michigan. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So he and his wife, 56-year-old dude, $300,000 Bentley. He and his wife are trying to go to the Kiss concert that was in Toronto. The Kiss concert was canceled because Paul Stanley is sick. So they changed their plans, and I guess they said they were going to just hang out at casinos. Now, that was, I guess they told Border when they were coming back and forth. They were on the American side, though, heading towards the Canadian side. I don't know, whatever. So when this first happened, because of the temperature of the world at the moment, it was, people on social media and all that stuff. It's a terror attack. It's Hamas blowing up the border and blah, blah, that stuff. And I can completely see why the pearl clutchers and, people who were sort of rooting for that. It seems like people were rooting for, this is why, you had these people on Twitter. Well, it doesn't seem to be that. It doesn't seem to be terror linked to Islamic terror. It doesn't seem to be like a Hamas thing, but it's something. It's something weird. There is something that we don't know that's going on here. Cars don't explode like that, do they? Well, look, I mean, I don't think my Chevy Malibu is going to explode like that. But is it different for supercars? Because that's a supercar. A $300,000 Bentley Silver Spur. Is that what it was? Or something like that? That's a supercar. Okay? Do those things have do they explode? Like, we hear about when regular cars that regular people buy explode and have problems, like the Pinto's famous and that kind of stuff. But I imagine some Ferraris have exploded. I just don't know that there's enough Ferraris on the road for it to be a big news story. Is the same thing with Bentleys? Are Bentleys just I guess our Bentleys not safe? Because that car exploded. The trunk was packed with C4. And cars explode like that in movies all the time, right? We always see it, and then what do? We roll our eyes when we see that in a movie, and we go, cars wouldn't explode like that. There's too much flame suppression built into the security. There's all stuff like that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. 56-year-old rich guy. Is he raging out? Was he like, God, I really wanted to see Kiss? Is that it? Like a road rage thing? Because, those kinds of border crossings can be really frustrating. It can be, oh, what is this asshole doing now? You know what I mean? And you might be in line for forever. Was he raging? Was he just like, bah! Maybe he's an arms dealer? He's a rich guy, 56. Lives on an island, drives a supercar, described as a businessman. I don't know. He's got his wife in the car with him, though. That's the thing. Unless it was like suicide, Like, did he? I don't know. I don't even want to go there. Here's the other thing that people are speculating about, though. Who is this guy? And he's not being made public. And typically, he would be made public. His name would be out there. They know everything about him, they seem to say, but they are describing him in the most basic terms. Businessman. Lives on an island. Not where, affluent island, not where, like, if a normal person would be like, who comes from the affluent community of so-and-so. No, they're not saying that. 56-year-old, no more description. Is this a Chinese guy? Is this a 56-year-old white guy? Is this a 56-year-old black guy? They're not saying anything. 56-year-old man and his wife dead when their $300,000 supercar explodes at the U.S.-Canadian border. I don't know. Mob hit? Car bomb? I mean, who knows? I don't know. What kind of business was this guy in? They're curiously not giving us information that I just assume we typically have at this point. Killed in the crash were 56-year-old Michael Spitgowan and his wife Martha of 25 years. Typically we have that by now. They're going out of their way to say 56-year-old businessman lives on an island. Like, okay, tell me more. I can't. Why not? 'Cause. So there is something more here, and I'm sure we're going to find out what it is. That's the Rainbow Bridge story. Okay, now this is dark for Thanksgiving, kids. I apologize for this in advance. If you're watching this in a kitchen while you're preparing turkey, and I'm going to try and keep the details to a minimum, but this is a run of stories about an expiring New York state law concerning sexual rape, sexual abuse. All right. So basically, here's the story. So there's a law that was passed 1 year ago tomorrow in New York City. It's the Adult Survivors Act. And this is one of the Me Too laws that they got passed in New York State. And what it says is that from the date of the signing of this law, the Adult Survivors Act, adult survivors of previous sexual abuses, sexual violence, whatever it is, they have 1 year to file in civil or file their case, whether it be deemed criminal or just civil, whatever it is. They got 1 year to do it. Okay. And it expires tomorrow. So last night at midnight, a whole bunch of assault and rape charges were filed against a whole bunch of big name people. Who knows? We did some of the details, and some of these are sketchy at best, others non-existent. I will say this, though. This is the very same law that last week, remember we saw the Puffy news? Where it was like, Puffy's being accused of rape with Cassandra. And then for a whole day, everybody in America was like, well, these details are really bad. This is really bad for Puffy. And then that story went away. You know why? He settled. Puffy wrote her a check the day after that story broke, and that is gone. Puffy just wrote the woman who said that he raped her and did all this stuff. He wrote her a check the next day. So I guess Puffy's not a racist. Rapist. Right? What does that even mean now? You took a check and went away? Well, you took a check to be quiet? Are you warning other women about him? Are you trying to sound an alarm about a violent repeat predator? Or are you just going to take a check and shut up now? It was shocking details about Sean Combs' behavior. And now it's just gone? So anyway, a whole slew of cases have been filed in the last 24 hours as of midnight tonight, trying to take advantage of the expiring law that goes into effect tomorrow. The Adult Survivors Act. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, has been not charged, but he's being sued in civil court by someone he worked with in 1993. This is going back 30 years. It was easy math once I realized that it was 93 and it's 2023. I started to actually do the backwards math, and I went, wait, no, that's the same. That should 30 years. So 30 years ago, when Eric Adams, current mayor of New York City, was a police captain, he's accused by this woman of sexually making a pass at her and trying to kiss her. And look, Thanksgiving. I don't know who's listening. I don't know who's around. So that's been brought 30 years ago. He says he doesn't even know this woman. He's never met this woman. But, that's typically what most of them say, guilty or innocent. So he's saying that. So we will see. So that is the Eric Adams story. Jamie Foxx. That's right. Remember just a couple of months ago when we were all clutching our pearls and saying prayers, dropping our knees every night? Please, God, don't take Jamie Foxx from us. And then he seems to have made a recovery. And now Jamie Foxx is doing casino commercials during football games. He seems fine. Well, fine enough to withstand rape allegations, because these ones against Jamie Foxx are really, I'm going to read you the details, because unlike the Eric Adams one, the Jamie Foxx details, again, okay, so as I always claim to be a tremendous judge of character, right? Do I think that Eric Adams did what he is accused of in 1993? What I read that he is accused of, the unwanted kissing and stroking and touching of a coworker when they were working late together, do I believe he did that? Yes. 100% I believe he did that. Now, if your next question is 30 years later, should he be paying a price for it? I'd go, no, he shouldn't. Not for that. Not for trying to kiss a girl. Not for shooting his shot. It was 1993. She didn't. I mean, maybe there's more details. I don't know. But here's the Jamie Foxx one. This one is a little more disturbing. Probably because we love Jamie Foxx. And we've all just, we're exhausted with giving Jamie Foxx our best energy, hoping that he pulls through. Jamie Foxx has now been sued for sexual assault. The details here are really graphic, so I'm going to spare you some of them. But he's being sued in New York, and this was never a criminal charge. This sounds like something that should have been a criminal charge, and it wasn't. But the expiring law in New York is going into effect tomorrow, so let's see if you can, Hey, Puffy the next day wrote a big check. How much money does Jamie Foxx have? A lot. So bring the case. Let's see what his people come at us with. I'll give you $5 million to go away. All right. All for just filing a single case from 30 years ago. Although this one here, Jamie Foxx is not from 30 years ago. Jamie Foxx is being accused of a rooftop sexual assault that allegedly happened 8 years ago in New York City. According to the lawsuit, Foxx was at Ketch, New York City in August of 2015 around 11 p.m. when the plaintiff arrived to be seated in the rooftop lounge and bar. She says she noticed Jamie one table away. Well, of course, he's Jamie Foxx. Everybody surprised the waiter didn't go, hey, you know who's here, right? Around 1 a.m., the plaintiff's friend asked Foxx if he'd take a photo with her and the plaintiff. So Foxx is there. They've been there all night. It's now 2 hours because he said 11 a.m. Now it's 1 a.m., drinking, partying, all that stuff. And this woman, the plaintiff against Jamie Foxx, her friend goes over to Jamie and says, will you take a picture with us? And he's like, yep. Around 1 a.m., the plaintiff's friend asked Foxx if he'd take a photo with her and the plaintiff. She claims he said, sure, baby, anything for you. Sounds, so far, sounds like something Jamie Foxx might do. And he seemed intoxicated to me at the time. She claims he took more photos and then commented, wow, you have that supermodel body. Yeah, he's probably Jamie Foxx and he's shooting his shot. She probably does have a supermodel body. He's Jamie Foxx. He's, women are typically very receptive to him because he's handsome, he's wealthy, and he seems like a good, cool guy. Let's see. Wow, you have that supermodel body. He then said, you smell so good. And he told her that she looked like Gabrielle Union. Oh, well, now he's just, Jane Doe is her name because, she doesn't have to put any skin in the game. She can just accuse him. Jane Doe claims Foxx pulled her by the arm to the back area of the rooftop, where he allegedly placed both hands on her waist. He then moved them under her top. And this is where we will stop. You can read this. This is from TMZ. This is TMZ's account of the Jamie Foxx allegations, but those are some of the allegations against Jamie Foxx. I think Jamie Foxx probably shot his shot. And possibly by today's standards, that's it. Is that Monty? It is. It's my boy, David Montgomery. Touchdown, Detroit. Love Monty. Oh, God. It's the most undervalued running back in football. Dude will get you 4 yards every time. Oh, you don't want 4 yards every time? You get 4 yards every time. You're winning every game you play. It's ball control. It's clock control. And you're just chunking out 4 yards every time. No, he ain't going to Saquon it and break one for 85 yards. He'll get you 4 yards every time. Tell me you don't want that in your backfield. Detroit Lions are having some success with it. All right, Jamie Foxx. So Jamie Foxx, they brought some charges against Jamie Foxx. Civil charges. He's going to write a check. I promise you by Monday, these Jamie Foxx charges will be all gone. We'll never hear this again. It'll be over with because just like Puffy, maybe the judgment here is just, make it go away, at some point. And, the ego demands, no, I'm going to fight it. They can't win because that would make them winning doing something bad against me and my ego can't end. I think the smart money goes, I'm worth how much? Well, sir, at the moment, you're worth $600 million. Jamie Foxx, that's my belief, somewhere in there. $600 million. Okay, how much will it take this awful moment that's ruining my recovery from whatever stroke or brain injury I went through? What was it? Well, we could probably get him to go away for $5 million. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Why wouldn't you do that? Just make it go away. And maybe that's what Puffy did. Or maybe not. In the case of both of these. That's why I have such a problem with these women bringing these civil court cases that do not have accompanying criminal charges. Hate it because it could just be a pull of the slot machine for these women. Because you could have guys who are like, wow, the press is really bad. This could affect me. This branding now, having to wear this tag that I raped this girl in this way could affect my business deals for the next 10 years, upwards of $1 billion. Give her the money. So there you have it. Eric Adams and Jamie Foxx have accusers who are getting in under the deadline in the New York State Adult Survivors Act. Not to be, we're not done. No, we're not done because also we got to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, Axl Rose is also being accused by a latecomer. Getting their filing in just under the wire. Here, we'll give you what they're saying about Axl Rose. Now, this one, I'm not going to give you many. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'm not going to read the Axl Rose one at all because it's Thanksgiving and you might have little ones running around or whatever. Normally, oh, yeah, we'd get into this. And on the nighttime Radio Misfits show, yeah, we'd get into this. But here's what he did. Axl Rose was in New York. He was at a club. He met a Penthouse pet. Girl who works for Penthouse. He decided to invite her and her friend and Ricky Rackman. Yeah, Ricky Rackman's involved here. Back to his hotel. So they go back to the hotel. Axl Rose furnished cocaine and champagne and food and all kinds of stuff. And then at some point, Axl Rose, there were other people invited too. But at some point, Axl Rose kicked everybody out. So it was just two girls and him and Ricky Rackman. Axl Rose got naked, jumped into a bed, and then the supermodel Penthouse girl was like, okay. And she goes and she gets into bed with him. And then Ricky Rackman gets naked and gets into bed with him. And then the other girl gets into bed with him. So there's this whole thing. So we aren't going into any details, but there was problems. And apparently Axl went real violent. Again, you can Google this. There are some details here that I don't want to get into, but it is weird. Axl's like, come on, Ricky, let's you and me. I could never sign off on that. That was never a thing. That was let's both do her. No, that's not a thing. We're not both going to, I'm sorry. Maybe, yes, I may be a lapsed Catholic, but there are some things that still I'm like, no, I don't think that's something I could be comfortable with. There is hangover. There's Catholic hangover. All right, so we got Eric Adams being accused from a 1993 case where he was forcibly kissing a coworker. Jamie Foxx is being accused, 2008 case where he met a girl at a bar and, did some things with his fingers. Then Axl Rose is also, there's a case against Axl Rose now. Axl Rose is being accused of violently sexually attacking a penthouse pet. I mean, the details that she is throwing out in the Axl Rose one, read them for yourself. Okay, so we got one more too, and why not? Because this guy's a billionaire. Why not just throw a billionaire under the bus and see if he's willing to pay a price for it? And I bet he is. I bet you this, although this guy's old, that's the dangerous thing. When you're old and at the end of your career, those are the guys that'll fight. Those are the guys that'll be like, I'm going to be dead anyway. My loser son. All right, so he thinks he's getting 200 million inheritance. I'll spend 150 of that fighting this. Like they don't care. Older guys. It's Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine, who started Interscope Records. Jimmy Iovine was a producer. Jimmy Iovine has a great story. I love Jimmy Iovine. He's being accused of raping a girl a few years ago. Well, let me tell you the Jimmy Iovine story first. And I'll go into it. I don't believe this one at all. I do not believe this one at all. I've met Jimmy Iovine. I got introduced to him at the Grammys, when Kelly and I used to go out there and do these Grammy things, when he was just the name, like only music nerds knew who he was, right? He was really nice. It was Stuart Copeland who introduced me to Jimmy Iovine. Pugs, this is Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy, this is Pugs. He does a radio show in Dallas. I'm like, oh, hey. Years later, Jimmy Iovine would be profiled in a really great HBO series about him and Dr. Dre called, it's a documentary series. It's like a 5-part, 6-part series. It's Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, and it's about their friendship and their partnership. Anyway, Jimmy Iovine was a kid who was trying to become a music engineer in New York City back in the 1970s, like 18 years old, and he gets a call on Easter Sunday. Nobody's there. Everybody's out. Everybody's nobody's working. It's Easter Sunday. This 18-year-old kid gets a call from the owner of the recording studio, and he says, hey, we need somebody down there today. Any chance you can get down there and let these people in? They want to go in and they want to record. And he's like, oh, whatever, because this is what, grunts do. When you're at the bottom of the pecking order, nobody wants to get off their ass and go down to the studio on Easter. So the kid who sweeps up, the 18-year-old kid, he can do it. Let's get him a call. Let's get him involved. So it's just on this Easter, he has to tell his mom. He's like, look, Mom, I got to run down to the studio. And she's like, oh, but Jimmy, why you always do that? There's a family, Easter Sunday. Jimmy's like, nah, Mom, I got to do it. He gets on the train. He goes all the way downtown, gets to the studio, lets the people in. Turns out that the people that he let in liked him. They were like, oh, this kid's great. And, because it was Easter and, they were spending Easter together. Yeah. The person he let in was John Lennon. And this 18-year-old kid, because John Lennon wanted to record on Easter Sunday morning, this 18-year-old kid was skyrocketed from just the dude who sweeps up to John Lennon's personal engineer. And that launched his career. He would become a producer. He discovered Bruce Springsteen. There's great stories about him and Bruce Springsteen. I mean, everybody, he would go on. Interscope Records was really where he made his big money. He started Interscope Records, and Interscope Records was how, Interscope is where he basically created Death Row, right? So, no, not Death Row, Aftermath. It was Aftermath that was the Dre imprint that had him leave Death Row. Yeah, anyway, that was the start of their friendship. And then they created Beats, the headphone company, together, and they sold that to Apple for $3 billion. So Jimmy Iovine has deep pockets. He is a big time dude in the world of rock music, certainly of the last 50 years. So let's see what this one's about now. He's being accused. Jimmy Iovine is shocked and baffled by new sex abuse accusation. I don't like the way it says new, because new suggests that like he's been accused of this before, and he hasn't. His reputation is that he's a really good dude. He's just a good guy. People want to work with him because he's honest and straightforward. He's a record company. Guys are sharks. Jimmy Iovine's reputation is very artist friendly, and a woman is filing a lawsuit against music executive Jimmy Iovine, alleging the Interscope Records founder sexually abused her and forcibly touched her. Iovine tells Rolling Stone he's shocked and baffled by the claim. A Jane Doe plaintiff filed a summons and notice on Wednesday in New York and alleges that Iovine, 70, engaged in multiple instances of sexual abuse and forcible touching of her, including a specific incident of sexual misconduct that occurred in New York City in August of 2007. The legal filing contained little additional information regarding the woman's specific claim, but a lawsuit is expected by the end of the year. The woman also alleges that she faced sexual harassment and retaliation and is seeking an unspecified amount of damages. All right. The legal filing contained little additional information regarding the woman's specific claims. Yeah, we don't need that to just drag Jimmy Iovine's name. You think people need to know the specifics of the charge to sit down tonight at dinner and go, yeah, that Jimmy Iovine's a real piece of work. He raped women. Just the story. The woman is a Jane Doe. The woman can bring these charges, and I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable with that. That is very unfair. That is very unfair because in some cases, these are shakedowns. Not all cases. Look, I'm not one of these people who are like, but I'm also one of these people that understands how human beings are and that women are not an exalted angelic class of the human experience. They're not. They're just like men. They're corrupt. They're shady. People are bad. Bad people come in all shapes and forms, all genders. Anyway, it is just interesting that all of these cases, these 5 or 6 cases that were all filed at midnight or just before midnight last night, because there's a law that's expiring and it's basically shit or get off the pot time. And the shit or get off the pot time comes at the expense of the names of all of these men who are widely being reported this morning as being rapists with absolutely no responsibility at all as to who's bringing the charges. I just think that's unfair. I don't know. All right. Taylor and Travis. This is an interesting story. This was, Taylor and Travis, there were beliefs, there were thought that they were going to have Thanksgiving together, but apparently they're not, because big changes have occurred in the Taylor and Travis relationship. On Monday, boy, if you ever had any doubts that this is a real relationship, Monday was supposed to be the stamp on that. You know what Monday night's game, Kansas City versus the Eagles, was supposed to have been? It was a Monday night football game. Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce out there playing Philadelphia Eagles rematch of the Super Bowl. It was supposed to have been the night that the Kelces and the Swifts all got together. It was meet the parents night. That's right. It was supposed to be the night that Travis Kelce's parents met Taylor Swift's parents. Dude, that's serious. That's serious. That's real. I'm telling you, this is real. This is a real relationship, and they are going to become. They're going to become like, she's already the Lady Diana of America. Like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the Lady Di of America. Travis is like a better Charles. It's like, oh man, they're going to be such a popular couple, and when they break up. Oh, this is Taylor Swift's. This is her masterwork. Taylor Swift had spent the better part of her career just breaking the hearts of teen girls with her tales of failed romance. And that was her bread and butter. But she was hemmed in. She had broken the hearts of the same little girls over and over and over again. She needed to do something lest she be considered a sadist. And what has she done? What has Taylor Swift done? Look at this. Taylor Swift dragged every football fan in America into her little rouge. And now she's got dads involved. Now she's got dudes who love Travis Kelce, who are now very concerned about Travis having a broken heart, especially around Super Bowl time. Oh my God. Kansas City Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. Taylor breaks up with Travis like the week of the Super Bowl. Oh my God. Travis then has a subpar game. Maybe it has something to do with it. Maybe it has nothing to do with it. Whatever. Ooh, she writes an entire album about it. Kansas City Blues. Or, yeah, I don't know, something like that. Oh, she goes on. We never hear from Travis Kelce again. He's a shell of his. Well, he's already 32, so this is a good way for him to go out of his career, right? Although he could play for another time, whatever. But I'm telling you, they're real. That's a real, well, I don't know, real on her end. Point is this, they are not concocted. Like when they are alone together, it's not like, so my publicist says that we should sit in here together for at least an hour before anyone sees us exit, just, to make people think. That's not happening. What's happening is when they're alone together, they're doing it. They are like all over each other. You can tell, and why not? Good Lord, look at her. And then look at him. I mean, that's real. Whatever's going on there is real. And I have to believe that he is a little bit different than all of the other men that she has been with. And I use men in she's been with a bunch of boys. She's been with a bunch of she was with like a Kennedy dude for a while, like hanging out with like society D-bags and, other pop stars and, ugh. She's got a true good old American Midwestern football player. Oh, shucks, man. That's what she's got now. And he's also someone that dudes love. Dudes love Kelsey. Kelsey can be a movie star. I think that Travis Kelsey, I think that if he wants to be an action hero or something, if action hero becomes a thing again, I don't know, really, whatever. But he could definitely do that. He's handsome enough. He seems incredibly charming in all the commercials that we're seeing him in now. I'm like, he's good. He's really good. He's likable. He's got that Gronk thing. Right? Remember Gronk? I always thought Gronk was just bleh, but then I started to see Gronk doing some of his Gronk work, like endless TV shows. My son thinks Gronk is like the greatest broadcaster in television history. And because Gronk does a lot of stuff. And so I've been watching, with my kid over there, watching a lot of Gronk. Gronk's good. Gronk is a good television personality. Gronk's good on screen. People like Gronk. And I think Kelsey's the same way, except Travis Kelsey, hold on, I'm watching this play. Travis Kelsey, like Gronk. What would you do with Gronk? Okay, I'll just put it this way. Gronk seems stupid and Kelsey seems smart, right? That's just the big difference between Gronk and Kelsey. But Gronk seems like wonderfully stupid, like charmingly stupid. Like you just, big, giant, harmless beast of a man who's just happy-go-lucky, right? That's him. But, like Travis Kelsey, like if shit was going bad, you might turn to Travis Kelsey and go, dude, what should we do? Right? You wouldn't do that with Gronk. I don't think I'd turn to Gronk and go, Gronk, thoughts? And Gronk would be like, All right, there you go. Taylor, they're not having Thanksgiving together. People were wondering. But the big story was that the family was supposed to all meet on Monday. How much fun is that? Let's see here. I'm going to check in the chat room again. Hold on, I'm working the chat room, y'all. Trying to say hi. I want to make sure I say everybody. Hi, Tracy. Tracy, I'm seeing now. We got Mike Owen. We got Jeff. Jeff's always here. Dustin. It is a Seeley family Midwest Thanksgiving show today, brought to us by the wonderful folks in the Seeley household, headed up by Dustin and Danielle. Thank you so much to them, executive producing today's show. What else we got? Hugh. Good. Happy Thanksgiving, Hugh. Want to make sure I say happy Thanksgiving to all the people in the chat. Okay, we're good. We seem to be good. All right, moving on. Hall & Oates. We talked about this last night on Radio Misfits. Hall is suing Oates. Apparently, what are they suing about? I don't know. They don't like each other, but they've never liked each other. They've never broken up. And they are like the best-selling duo in the history of music, which is crazy. But when you look at their hits, when you look at Hall & Oates stuff, it's like, man, they got a lot of hits. They're like the Cars. Yeah, I said the Cars. The Cars are sneaky prolific. Like, you don't realize how many songs the Cars have until you find a Spotify list of Cars songs. You know who else is like that? Although this one I kind of do realize he's got a lot, but he's got a lot. Tom Petty. It's like, oh my God, that's also Tom Petty. Jeez. Hall & Oates are like that. Hall & Oates have an incredible best of catalog. What's going on with these two guys? I don't know. Here's what we know. We don't know details of this particular suit. We know that Daryl Hall has taken out a restraining order in addition to a suit, a trust suing trust. So obviously Hall & Oates is Hall & Oates Inc., right? There's at some point they decided that this is a business and that we are both the founders of this business. So within that, their holdings are held in trusts, individual trusts. So there's like the Daryl Hall Trust, that's the part of Hall & Oates that he owns. And then there's the John Oates Trust, that's the part that he owns. So those trusts are suing each other. We have to believe over something internal, something accounting oriented. So blah, 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 not interesting. But what we do know is that last year, Daryl Hall had some very public problems with John Oates because John Oates was going out on tour, which is like, really? Okay. John Oates went out on tour and he was performing Hall & Oates songs. And he was performing Hall & Oates songs that John Oates had nothing to do with. And Daryl Hall had a problem with that. So that was a year ago. So maybe that's festering. Maybe that has something to do with this. At any rate, these two guys, grumpy old men. That's what Hall & Oates are right now. Are you guys kidding me? Hall & Oates at each other's throats. You guys are awesome. I'd like to track through Hall & Oates. Like you find a Hall & Oates greatest hits, and I know Hall & Oates are complicated for people in my generation. My generation, we didn't think they were cool, but they were undeniable, and that's it's kind of a rock and a hard place when you're 17 years old trying to decide how to present yourself to the world, really hoping people think you're cool. Hall & Oates concert T-shirt wouldn't have pulled it off back then. You had to be wearing maybe REM or the Smiths, something like that. But man, I love Hall & Oates. You track through a best of your. Why? Because from like 1975 through like 1990, let's just say it, 75, that 15 year, these guys, man, cranked out hit after hit after hit. And it didn't matter if you liked the song or not. If you liked your life, if you liked the experience that you were having, the moment you heard Rich Girl in 1977, it just completely soldered itself to that memory. So now when you hear that song 40 years later, Rich Girl, you immediately think of, oh my God, this reminds me of when I was riding in the back of, my Uncle Mike's truck and we were going through the woods. It just doesn't even have to be a significant moment, but the music just attaches you to a time and a place where you have an emotional fondness for. That's why we love music. That's why in 1986, I'd have been like, Hall & Oates suck. But now at this age, I'm like, no, they don't. They really do not suck. They actually bring me great joy now when I listen to them. That's what they say about music. It takes you back. So anyway, they're at each other's throats. That's fun. All right, here's a story. This is, what is this? Hold on. Let me see what this one is. It's a very strange. Very strange. I don't know why I titled it this way. I don't remember this story. Oh, now I remember it. Oh, yeah, this is the story. Oh, this guy. It's the name, too. The name is so great. The guy's name is Kenny Lee Kelly. All right, you just know that anybody named Kenny Lee Kelly is not going to cure cancer. Kenny Lee Kelly. First of all, there are no Kennys. There are no, you can't, I'm sorry. Kenny and Ronnie. Those two names. Oh, dude, I'm just saying. I know there are exceptions. I know that there's no, my grandpa's a saint and his name is Ronnie. I know that there are exceptions. Ronnie Millsaps was probably wonderful. But Ronnies and Kennys, they'll get you every time. I'll say no more. They're troubled names. They're grown men who still go by Kenny. Oh, he's going to steal your bike. And he's going to be in his 40s when he does it. An Iowan by the name of Kenny Lee Kelly, an Iowan pleasured himself outside a come-and-go store and then departed for his nearby apartment. This according to an indecent exposure complaint filed following his arrest yesterday. First of all, a couple of things we need to address. Yes, this tracks for someone named Kenny Lee Kelly. You name your son Kenny Lee Kelly, you can expect this kind of behavior, not this specific behavior, but you can expect some kind of antisocial. You're going to be embarrassed, is my point. You name your kid Kenny Lee, and your last name is already Kelly. Fun fact about the name Kelly. And I have some friends who are Kellys because I am Irish, and it's a very common name. So in the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the character of Charlie Kelly is named Charlie Kelly. That's Charlie. And Charlie Day on a podcast, they were talking about, the origins of these characters and was Charlie allowed to create the character and all that kind of stuff. And he said that something that I believe very wholeheartedly. He said that anyone, if you're Irish and you know Irish people, anyone with the last name Kelly is trouble. It just means, oh God, here are the Kelly family. Oh geez. So that's funny too, that this guy's name is Kenny, which is problematic. Lee, which is always the one they drop in with the weirdest people, and then Kelly. So Kenny Lee Kelly, this guy was cursed from birth. So he goes into a come and go. And by the way, I think the irony that we draw from this, or the purely incidental, this guy didn't go to the come and go and then, go, I'm going to go masturbate out in front of the come and go. That wasn't what this guy would. No. It would, if a 7-Eleven was outside his apartment, it would have been a 7-Eleven. An Exxon Mobil, whatever, it would have been that. It's just funny to us now looking at the story from 30,000 feet that he was at a come and go, because that's exactly what he did. According to cops, victims called 911 to report that an unknown male had said sexual things to them and then began masturbating in their presence while outside the convenience store in Iowa City. After a police canvassed the nearby area, officers identified Kenneth Lee Kelly as a suspect in the public pleasure session. Multiple subjects from come and go, neighboring businesses and apartments identified the defendant as the subject in the photos. This dude has his own, I don't get this. Like this, okay, so if you're going to do this, if you're the kind of person who has to stand in public, right, if this is what turns you on, if this is what you need to do, how are you, one, not in jail? Like, I would think you would have done this multiple. He's 54 years old. I would think that this guy would have done it multiple times, so he should be in jail for something, because this is obviously a problem. He's got to know that, man, I wish I could not do this, right? Does that not enter his head? I got to do it. I got to go stand in front of the Iowa. What? At no point is it good. Boy, this is a bad idea. So he doesn't have that governor inside him. So I got to imagine that at some point in his 54 years, he'd have done something that would landed him in jail. But no, he's out. And here's the thing that kills me. He's got an apartment. This guy's got a lease. This guy's a mover and a shaker. He's, upwardly mobile. Ugh. Contacted at home, the police gave him a shout. They gave him a ring-a-ding. Apparently people in the neighborhood, they're like, oh yeah, that's Kenny. Oh yeah, what, Kenny, whip it out again? Yeah, that's Kenny. He lives right up there. He's got a great apartment. His credit is impeccable. Let's see here. Contacted at home, Kelly denied that he was the individual captured on the video. That ain't me, Kelly said. However, and this is always, you can deny it all you want, Kenny Lee Kelly. However, he did confirm that he had clothing that matched exactly what the person in the video was wearing. He then acknowledged that he was, yes, currently wearing the exact same clothing as the person in the video. That's Kenny Lee Kelly for you. It ain't me. You have clothes like that, Mr. Kelly? Yeah, I got clothes exactly like that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, would you be currently wearing those clothes that are exactly like the clothes that the guy who you say is not you in the video that we are currently watching? Is that a fact? Yeah, I'm currently wearing. There you go. He was cooked. His goose was cooked. He came to the door in the clothes. You got to change your clothes. You got a minute you cry. Man, if you think anybody's looking at you for anything, burn them clothes. Not that I've ever been on the run, but it just seems like, it seems like I'd be good at it. Like being on the run, at least like the initial like 24 hours of being on the run, I think I'd be good at. It's the sustaining of the lifestyle where that's where I would get caught. I'd be one of those guys that gets away, but then, he's caught like 2 weeks later, not because he gets sloppy, but because there's a big part of me that just wants to go back because I don't want to live like this. Anyway, search warrant at Kelly's apartment resulted in the seizure of the said garments that matched the surveillance and traffic camera. Additionally, a photo lineup was conducted, and victims independently identified Kelly as the man. Kelly was arrested Thursday and booked into jail for indecent exposure. It says that's a serious misdemeanor. What is a serious misdemeanor? That's a serious misdemeanor. I don't even know what that is. What is this? I don't know. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks. That's me. Something wrong with my head today. Frank in the chat room just said happy Thanksgiving. I responded with happy Thanksgiving. Thanks. That's where my head's at today. Let's see here. Okay, that's it. Let's move on from this story. But I'll tell you, man, Kenny Lee Kelly. That's a name. That is a name. I think that might be the perfect dirtbag white guy name. Kenny Lee Kelly. All right, let's move on. Oreo attack. Here's another story. So a guy was arrested. He's being charged with battery over his wife because they got into an argument over whether or not there was water in the coffee pot, which I absolutely understand this argument because sometimes when the coffee pot needs more water, it'll start to go and then you got to get up and you got to add more water. In this case, somebody didn't want to get up and add any more water, so they were in denial, and they were going, there's water in there. Started a fight. Two old people, 75 and 70. They've been married forever. They're fighting over whether or not there's water in the coffee pot. The husband, he's had enough. Oh, God, are you kidding me with this? I'm telling you, there's no water in there, Marge. So the husband just grabs a box of Oreo cookies. Not even a box. What is this, 1950? Oreos don't come in boxes. He grabs like a roll or, a little bag, whatever it is, a little cellophane thing. He grabs that thing of Oreo cookies. Because grandkids are coming over. It's Thanksgiving. You got to have Oreo cookies. So he grabs the Oreo cookies and he chucks them at her. And she falls down. Like he hits her in the chest. He said he was aiming for her head. That's a guy who's been married to the victim for 25 years. Yeah, I was aiming at her head. Ugh. Yeah, 25 years earlier, man. I'm telling you, I used to play catcher. I could throw a guy out at second base on a dime. I'd have knocked her head off if I. It's a bag of Oreo cookies that he threw at his wife out of frustration. Well, she fell. And old people falling is never a good thing. And although there was no damage done by the Oreos per se, it was her being off balance. And now she fell. She hit her head. She's fine. She didn't go to the hospital or anything. But he's like in jail. And now he got arrested. It's just old people. Are you kidding? Here's my point on this. All of these laws had to be, tripped. There's trips. There are these things that, regardless if anybody presses charges, if one thing happens, then another thing automatically happens, and that causes another thing to automatically happen. This was probably a stupid fight between two people who've been married for like 40 years. They probably had 1,000 of these. She falls. He calls 911 because he's concerned. He's like, okay, baby, you're going to be fine. And, she was fine, but he's still out of concern. He's like, no, let's call 911, make sure that you're all right. And then cops show up because, they come with the ambulance. There's nothing else going on. And dude's like, the cops are like, what happened? He's like, I threw some Oreos at her. She fell. You okay, baby? Yeah, I'm okay, honey. Right, as she's being wheeled out. Fight's over. It was just over something stupid. They've been married forever. And the cops are like, you coming with us, sir? And now he's in jail and he can't contact her because there is a law that gets tripped that the wife doesn't have to file the restraining order. There's an automatic restraining order in this particular county where they are. So I thought that was an interesting story because there's a lot of people. This story is going around. There's a couple of different versions of it. But if you get into the comment sections of these stories, there seems to be about 5 or 6 people who are and it's on a number of the comment sections where this story can be found. It's like they're hitting it. They're trying to make sure that the truth of this story is out there. These 5 people seem to be telling the same story on all the different comments. And it's basically, it gives you some details. They seem to know that this might be like their children going, wait a second. My dad did not try to kill my mom with Oreos. They yell at each other. They're old school. That's how these people are. She slipped and fell in the kitchen. He called 911 because he was concerned. Through the course of that investigation, it was revealed that she may have slipped because he threw Oreos at her. Cops saw that as domestic abuse. Now this guy's going to spend Thanksgiving in jail. That's life. That's what we do when we don't think things through. That's thoughtlessness. That's just, well, let's not really consider this on a case by case. Let's just throw this old man in jail for chucking some Oreos at his what? What else do we have here? We're running out of time, my guys. Oh, no. This is a cool story. Okay, you guys are going to stick around for this. All right, so you all know about my love and admiration for the great McDonald's Corporation. Love McDonald's. Love it. Oh, so many of you take McDonald's for granted. Oh, McDonald's. I don't want to go to McDonald's. Shut up. Go to your whatever your trendy little. No, McDonald's. It's always been there. There is always one of the key things about where I always have to live within walking distance of a McDonald's. Not that I will ever walk to the McDonald's because that'd be weird. The immediate area surrounding any McDonald's, it doesn't matter where it is. The immediate area surrounding a McDonald's is always like a wasteland of forgotten humanity. It is. It's always like some dude going through the garbage. It doesn't matter where you are either. It's every McDonald's has this weird sort of these satellites of, sadness that just kind of hang out. 7-Elevens also have something similar, but McDonald's. So I never walked to a McDonald's because then, it's scary. I'm a privileged middle-aged white man. Hold on. Oh, Jesus. Goff, did he fumble? Is that a sack fumble? Come on, ref. What direction? Goff just got destroyed. It looked like the ball came out. 29-14. Packers over the Lions in the fourth. All right, I don't know. I'm not going to get distracted by that. So I love McDonald's. McDonald's are my favorite. The McDonald's hamburger, please. The Big Mac is the best hamburger. It's too small, of course. And can we just... You want to talk shit on McDonald's? McDonald's is gross. Okay, maybe for your taste buds and your sensibilities, it's gross. But one thing that you're lying about, one thing at McDonald's is not gross. And it is universally... Nobody is doing the potato game quite like McDonald's. Nobody does potatoes like McDonald's. Let's forget about their French fries. We know that the McDonald's French fries are, for some reason, they're like alien French. They're so good. Why are they so much better than all the other French fries? Burger King French fries, Wendy's French fries, they all suck. Maybe not, but in comparison to McDonald's, they do. Also, the unsung hero of the McDonald's potato game, I believe the single greatest item one can purchase at any fast food restaurant, Taco Bell, I don't care, Schlotzsky's, Wendy's, Burger King, I don't care, Portillo's, the single most delicious solitary item that can be purchased at any of those places is the McDonald's hash brown. The McDonald's morning hash brown will never let you down. That's true. My breakfast, if I could just get a bag of like 10 hash browns, that would be my breakfast. They are so delicious. Fast Outdoor Food would like to sing the praises of another unsung hero of the McDonald's menu, and that is the Filet-O-Fish, the finest fish sandwich on the market. I don't want to hear it. The Filet-O-Fish is the finest, not only the finest fish sandwich on the market, it may in fact be the finest fish sandwich ever made. It's perfect. Now, you need 4 of them. A guy like me, I got to eat 4 of them. I can't just do one. They're so little, but they are delicious. They melt in your mouth. Delicious. Potatoes and fish. That's what McDonald's does. Anyway, why are we talking about McDonald's? Ooh, something's coming, gangsters. Some's coming from the great minds of McDonald's. They bought them. There's a new McDonald's fast food company, restaurant. We don't know. We're not sure what it is. There is a new McDonald's that are coming up. And there are a number of McDonald's locations across the United States where these are going up, right next door. They are building these right next door to McDonald's. Architecturally, they look just like McDonald's. They are the same. They're intentionally. They want people to go, oh, yeah, that's another McDonald's thing. But it's not McDonald's. They're going up right next to McDonald's. So you got to think, okay, they're not in the burger game because they wouldn't do burgers right next to McDonald's. They're not going to compete against themselves. So this has got to be another fast food option that isn't directly in competition with what their main thing is, which is burgers and fries. So what is it? All right, so let me tell you about this. Very secretive. We don't know. We do know that there is one. The first one that is going to open in Illinois, which makes sense because that's, Chicago is the home base for McDonald's Corporation. The first McDonald's was in Des Plaines, and corporate is there. So that's where they're doing it. The first one, anyway, that's set to open. And we still don't know what it is. And they're not telling anyone what it is. The buildings, again, look exactly like McDonald's buildings architecturally, except instead of being red and yellow, they are blue. So what is blue? What does blue do? What is that? What is a McDonald's building that's painted blue supposed to be about? Those golden arches that everyone knows and loves are an important part of American culture. Now the company behind them is going to branch out into a new fast food territory. That's right. McDonald's is opening a new chain. What little information we know about it was shared via content creator on TikTok. This looks really cool. Okay, hold on. Let's see what this is. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, here, let's see what this is. Sorry, guys, I'll pull it up. I have some thoughts on this. I believe I know what it is. So let's see what they think it is. Okay, here we go. Ba-boom. All right. I don't know how to make this bigger, so unfortunately, we'll just have to listen to it. Okay, here we go. Boom. Okay. Nope. All right, let's check this out. Oh. Okay. Hold on. Is that working? Is it working? Let's see. Sorry, guys. Okay, I don't think this is working right. Try one more time. All right.
Bar and they put it right on top of a frozen strawberry. I don't know.
All right, never mind. This isn't what I was looking for anyway. The point is this. So what are these mystery McDonald's that are going up? Let's hear. Here are some of the clues. What are they going to be selling? Now, I was talking about how bad turkey, if we really like turkey in this country, McDonald's would have, some kind of a fast food. They'd be selling turkey sandwiches and stuffing year round, but we don't have the demand for it. And I jokingly said, then maybe I'll back off my claim that Thanksgiving is just mid food. That food is just not anything anybody ever orders in a restaurant. It's just mid food. And we pretend it's fantastic. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe McDonald's is going to do turkey sandwiches or something. Who knows? Let's stick with it. The new chain is going to be called Cos MCs. Okay. This is what we do know this. Cos MCs. Oh, what do you want for dinner? I want Cos MCs. I have no idea what Cos MCs is. Other than this, which is so weird. Cos MC is an old, and I remember that. Is this a, yeah, okay. I remember this character from like the 80s. Remember the McDonaldland characters? Well, nope, there it is. Yeah. The McDonaldland characters like not the Riddler, Superman. Yeah, the Hamburglar, Mayor McCheese, what have you, right? Here, we'll do this. Okay. So that's Cos MC. He was only a McDonald's land character for a short period of time, but he had a toy. There was a Cos MC toy, and I remember I had that toy. Like he was like a space alien. And look, see, he had a bunch of arms, but he was only around for like a couple of years, and he didn't correlate to anything. It wasn't like, get the new Cause MC Sunday or, fish sandwich, or it wasn't anything like that. Alien bites, it wasn't nothing like that. So I don't know. And then they just discontinued this character. And now here we are, and I'm hearing that they're opening an entire store with this as the lead character. So maybe this is the color blue. Remember they said that the stores were going up. They look just like McDonald's, but they're color blue. All right, so there he is in a commercial. Cause MC. No idea. With Grimace. Okay. I guess that's all we got of Cause MC, just some stills from the 80s. All right, so that's the name of the restaurant. What are they selling? McDonald's ain't telling us. All right, let's continue on. We all know McDonald's is the king of fast food and marketing, though, so this has a lot of potential to be amazing, whatever it is. The last time McDonald's did this, it was Chipotle. Right? Like, that's McDonald's Mexican. Do people know that? Do people readily know that Chipotle is McDonald's? It's just McDonald's doing their version of expensive Mexican. What Snackalator does know is that the buildings do resemble McDonald's, but they are blue, not red. One of the new restaurants is currently being built in Illinois. He says right next to an existing McDonald's, and the two buildings resemble one another. The exterior of that building showed 4 drive-through lanes, so the emphasis seems to be on having food ordered, not indoor dining. This is a small format design per the announcement from McDonald's, but no one really seems to know what that means. The restaurant is named after a long-lost McDonald's mascot named Cause MC, who was used in advertisements in the 1980s and 90s. Snackalator is unsure how this mascot ties into the restaurant, however. Yeah, I had no idea. We didn't know what Cause MC was all about back then. That's kind of why they faded him out. He looked cool, and that's why I remember him, because he looked cool. And, he was like, all of a sudden the McDonald Land gang has a space alien friend, and that was interesting to like a 12-year-old me or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. And I had the little Cause MC figurine. Let's see. The restaurant is named after the long-lost McDonald's mascot named Cause MC, who was used in advertisements in the 80s and 90s. Snackalator is unsure how the mascot ties into the restaurant. He says that many people believe this is the fast food giant's way of competing with another popular, more modern chain. Ladies and gentlemen, it is widely held that this is McDonald's long-rumored answer to Starbucks. And let me tell you something. Yeah, it's believed that what this is ultimately going to be is a standalone amplification of what would be currently known as the McCafe menu. The McCafe menu, which focuses more on like pastry and coffees and stuff like that. McDonald's has incredible coffee. McDonald's coffee is great. Best coffee there is. Old people say White Castles. White Castles has the best. You get a couple of hamburger sandwiches, and then you drink some black coffee. You smoke a Pall Mall. Like, that was the thing in 1950. That's what White Castles were known for their coffee. Apparently, they had great coffee. But I'm here to tell you, McDonald's legitimately has knocked down, drag out good coffee. And if they're going to go after Starbucks, maybe they'll knock a buck off of the pretentious pricing at Starbucks. And by the way, can we talk about this too? Here's how they're going to beat Starbucks. If this is in fact what it is, and I don't know, this is just me and some people here that probably a bunch of fat guys. This is what we think it is. They're going to beat Starbucks by offering better food. Starbucks, like every time I have something, some kind of food from Starbucks, my first thought is the nerve of these people. The nerve of these people. This is the worst, least inspiring sandwich I have ever. They're just terrible. Everything at Starbucks is awful food-wise. Even the pastries. It's a coffee pastry. It's supposed to be dry and flavorless. Oh, really? It is? Well, then I'm not supposed to be paying for it because that is absurd. Anyway, that's what they can do. If they start, and boy, they got the real estate, right? And the thing about McDonald's, they're the number one real estate owner in the United States of America. They own the real estate on all of those buildings. Every McDonald's in America is a piece of land owned by the McDonald's Real Estate Corporation. So they got the real estate. They got the real estate to jump into every market with this new thing. If they really want to go after Starbucks, unlike anyone else, like if somebody wants to go out, like I got a better coffee than Starbucks, you got to go. You got to give VC money. You got to get backing. You can't scale that quickly. McDonald's wants to put one of these things across the street from every Starbucks in America at half the price with, better food. Holy cow. I might buy some McDonald's stock. Who am I kidding? I can't buy any stock. Anyway, that's interesting. All right, so that's what's going on with McDonald's. It's going to be blue and they're going to do coffee. That's what I think. I think it's going to be food. I mean, they're going to focus on coffee. They're going to try and get people. The 4 drive-through lanes is interesting to me because that is they're focusing on takeaway. When one of the big draws about Starbucks is that it's a community meeting area. It used to be if you needed to meet somebody, like in the middle of the day, they don't have an office, you don't have whatever, you're just going to meet with somebody, you're going to talk to your insurance guy or whatever, you're going to meet with a real estate person, whatever. A lot of times what you do is you have these meetings at Starbucks. That's become sort of the de facto America's meeting ground. You walk into a Starbucks at 2:00 anywhere in America, and there's going to be a bunch of guys in suits hunched over with papers spread out, and that's what happens. So if McDonald's wants to go after that aspect of Starbucks business, they're going to have bigger rooms, bigger dining rooms. They're going to have to, and the description that we had here was that this particular one that was going up didn't appear to have much of a dining room. Maybe they're focusing on takeaway. I don't know. What else do we have that's exciting? There's a new Corvette. Have you guys seen this new Corvette yet? Let me show you the new Corvette. All right, check this out. This is the brand new, I'm a Corvette guy. This is the E-Ray. It is a hybrid Corvette, but it's not a traditional hybrid. Like it's not like you don't charge it. Like there's no way to charge it. It's self-charging. It's the whatever. I don't know much about that stuff, but it's not like a hybrid. It's not an electric car where you need to charge it. This is, let me see here. Let's look at these pictures. This thing is so badass. And then I'll read you the descriptions. Oh, that's on it. Boom. Yeah, there it is. All right. This thing is sweet. Are you guys Corvette fans? I mean, look, I love Corvettes. I'm a huge fan. I love the American Chevy Corvette. I mean, I'd rather have a Corvette than a Ferrari. Here it is. This is the brand new 2024 Corvette E-Ray hybrid Corvette. Now, base model, about $105,000. Top of the line, you're going to be just under $200,000 for this car. Now, why is that? What you gonna talk some shit about it possibly being an E? Is that it? What? It's one of these. I don't want to have anything to do with one of those bitch ass E hybrid cars, folks. This is the fastest Corvette that has ever been produced. This car has car and driver. This car has This car has all of these people falling over backwards. The Corvette is back. This car is going to take the world by storm. At least that's what they're saying. The reviews for this car are unbelievable. Let me give you a little taste of what they say about it. I'm going to give you the specs, as we like to say. Actually, let's look at some different versions. Let's see. I love the new, look at the red. The red is cool, right? But, I have this thing about never wanting a red car. I don't want anyone in the town to think that I'm the volunteer fire chief. And I think that if you got a red car, you should be the volunteer fire chief. Look at that. That's the color I want. Look at that. Whoo! That just looks tough. Look at this thing coming at you. Oh my God. Okay, let's leave that one up. All right, so let's learn about this car. The 2024 Corvette E-Ray, the quickest Corvette ever. The fastest off-the-line production Corvette combines a naturally aspirated V8 with an all-electric front-wheel propulsion and redefines what it feels like to drive a Corvette. So this is for the Wall Street Journal. This is just one of the random ones that I pulled up here. The story that initially was talking about the rave reviews just had links to a bunch of them. This one's from the Wall Street Journal. It says, on a recent trip to Los Angeles, I spent a day being awesome in the new unseemly civilized Corvette E-Ray. Chevy's first hybrid-powered Corvette and the first with winter-worthy all-wheel drive. Yeah, they're like going to let you drive it. They want to sell it in Canada, apparently. What are the specs on these things? I don't have them handy. Anyway, that is a badass car. All right. It is Thanksgiving. Let's close out with this. I want to do one more thing here. Anybody got any issues? Anybody already fighting with family? Is nobody there yet? I'm going to probably be popping on throughout the course of the day doing streams. Feel free to join me if not. Maybe during the Cowboy game, I might watch the Cowboy game and just kind of, I'll be on here. You people can tell me. Yeah, Jameson, Corvette is my dream car too. So, people are like, why would you get a Ferrari? Honestly, because Ferraris are a dime a dozen. I'm not impressed with Ferraris. Lamborghinis, not impressed with Lamborghinis. Of those European supercars, I really love the McLarens because they just look so cool. And like an Aston Martin, the Aston Martins are so cool. So those are the ones that I like. I like the Aston Martins and I like the I like McLarens. But as far as the next Corvettes, I've always been partial to Corvette. Corvettes are cool. There's something cowboy about Corvettes. There's something American about Corvettes that I've always appreciated. And I've always been a fan of muscle cars. And not to say the Corvette is from the muscle car class, because I think that there is a distinction there. But the Corvette has always sort of been the elegant beast. It's always just got this really cool vibe. And I couldn't for 30 years too, let's be honest, for about 30 years, the Corvette was just the midlife crisis mobile. There was no inspired innovation going on with the Corvette. It was an expensive sports car and dudes who were going through a divorce would buy one to feel better about themselves. And that's what the Corvette came to be defined as for generations. The Corvette of the 60s and the Corvette of the early 70s were long forgotten by an endless stream of 70s and 80s and 90s forgettable Corvettes. And then what? I think about 10, 15 years ago is when they finally went, you know what? Let's bring this brand back and let's really remind people of what Corvette used to stand for. And that's what this new Corvette is. This new Corvette is awesome. So if you're looking for it, if you're going to pick me up a little something, it's the 2024 Corvette E-Ray. Get it? Like Stingray, it's the Stingray. It's in the Stingray lineage, but it's an E-Ray. Here, this is a fun little video. Let's watch this. I thought this could be a little something you might try to set into practical use around the dinner table. This is a fun girl I follow on Twitter. She made a video about what the drink that you drink at Thanksgiving says about who you are as a person, and she basically will show you the alcohol. And then she will behave as if that person, as if she is that person. So here's what it is. What your Thanksgiving drink says about you. This girl's funny. Here you go.
This is what your Thanksgiving drink says about you. I've had 10 of these. It's cozy. Do you guys think you want to be cremated or buried? I brought some local vegan pies crusted with gold flecks since the turkey wasn't free range. I can't tell that this champagne is Prosecco. It's still the morning somewhere. Thanksgiving is more kind of like a boozy brunch. I said I was watching the game. I said I wasn't gonna fight with anyone. You're literally just gonna say that and walk right by me? All right, do you even watch the news? You've lost a lot of weight.
Do you even watch the
news? It looks really great. Oh, it was stress, so you feel bad? So it's not a good thing? Well, you know what? You look amazing, even if you feel bad. You looked bad last year. We were all talking about it. I got really into cocktail culture. Yeah, I have a bar cart, got a few mixology books. Oh, please don't make it sweet. No. What's up, family? I'm trying not to commit a single experience of this evening to my permanent memory. Line them up. I know a really cool dive bar across the street. Well, it's like a 40-minute drive from here. I don't really respect the entire charade of Thanksgiving. The second everyone's done eating, all of the women jump up to wash the dishes. Not a single man. You know it could be fun, truth or dare. And Janet, I dare you to take a DNA test. I have a new mental clarity now. I've been exercising a lot. Are you guys going to smoke? Okay, hold on, I'm coming. I do kind of want to go upstairs and take a nap. Kind of want everyone to go home.
Yeah. All right, there you have it. That is what your Thanksgiving cocktail of choice says about you. All right, guys, I guess that's it. We're going to wrap this portion up. Let's see here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner. I don't like that I got cooked for myself. I want to be jumping on doing streams, so I'm going to cook. I'm going to cook chicken. Yeah, I think I'm going to do chicken. I think I got some mashed potatoes. I'll do that. I got ambrosia salad. Ambrosia salad's been my jam. I made a big giant bucket of it last night, because I ate the big giant bucket of it that I made the night before. And I'm probably going to have to make another giant bucket of it tonight, because I want to hit my kid to the world of living the ambrosia lifestyle. I don't know. It's delicious. All right. What else? 29-14. The game, we got 3 minutes left. It looks like the Green Bay Packers are going to upset the... I really think that they're a little bit overrated, Detroit Lions. I wanted them to be good. I really did. My team that I root for is in the NFC North. And typically when another team, the Lions, that are in the same division as you, when they start to get good, you don't root for them, right? You don't. But this is the Detroit Lions. Like, they deserve it, right? You want to root. This ain't the Packers or the Vikings. Screw them, right? As a Bear fan, I'm like, screw the Packers, screw the Vikings. But the Lions, I want them to be good. And I'm honestly starting to go, they're not that great, are they? They're not, they're good, but they're not Eagles good. They may not even be 49ers good. I don't know. I mentioned this at the start of the show. The new HBO Hard Knocks in season. They do this now in season. Hard Knocks was always... It's the show where they put cameras inside and they follow around an NFL team. Hard Knocks was always preseason, summer camp. So a couple of years ago, they started doing in season, a second version of it, where halfway through the season, they jump in with a team and they chronicle their playoff push. Jordan Love, nice throw. Okay. Should have been picked. So the Miami Dolphins Hard Knocks in season debuted last night. And I don't know if you're a Miami Dolphins fan or not. For me, the Miami Dolphins are they're cool. They're like, I got no issue with. I mean, you know, I don't have any like if you were, there are a number of teams in the NFL that if they're playing, I just root for them to lose because I hate them, because I just want to see them lose. Dolphins aren't like that for me. So like I can root for the Dolphins, and they are undeniably a very entertaining team. And their coach, this guy, Mike McDaniel, he is God. You know, I'm looking at my team. We're about to fire our second. I don't know. I think we get a new coach now every 2 seasons, and that's just the way it's going to be. So we're getting ready to fire our coach, and I'm looking at this guy last night on Hard Knocks, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. What is he? 15? You know, he's young. He's like this young guy. He is unlike any football coach I have ever seen. He's more like a drama coach. He's more like you know, the guy that like was putting on the school plays and running the drama department and all of that. That's like this dude is, except he's running a football team. And his approach seems to be winning. His approach seems to be working. His players love him. His young players love him and speak of him in a way. Look, players always speak respectfully of their coach when they're on camera. If they're not, then there's something really wrong, and that's a bigger story. But players are like, oh, you know, working with him, and you know, you look at who he's worked with, and all. They always say that stuff. No, these players see this guy differently. He's like one of them. He's like their buddy who they trust because he's super smart, and they listen to him because he's got great ideas. But he's also really fun. And it dawned on me what this guy is. It's going to make a lot of us mad. It made me mad. I was like, God, rats, wrong again. So remember like a bunch of years ago when this millennial generation, when they were like 14 and 15 and they were acting like pussies, and we'd all be like, yeah, That's fine. Let them try and get away with that. Real world's going to chew them up once they get in the real. That's what we said. We were all like, yeah, that's fine. Let's see that little helicopter baby try and pull that in the workplace when he's 30. That's what we all said. Because that was our reality. Our reality was that shit didn't fly in the workplace. Well, guess what? Enough of them aged up at the right time where suddenly they became dominant in the workplace and they changed the rules. I'm watching this Hard Knocks. I'm watching this crazy young coach who's unlike any other coach. And I'm thinking he embodies that sentiment. He's a millennial coach who came into coaching and pulled that shit. And guess what? It working for him. It works. He's having success. What am I saying is the big difference? Well, there was a widely accepted, highly abusive nature to the football coach and all of that stuff with me and growing up. And I love my coaches, but my coaches were like, "You fat fucker, get the fuck, you're a loser." That's how coaches were, and we accepted it. Bobby Knight and all, right? And so the idea was that somebody like a Mike McDaniel, he could never possibly have any kind of success being a weirdo. And he is, because these players are also younger. And these players also, are accepting of whatever their new reality is. The real world will chew these millennials up. No, because the real world that they inherited was their world. And guess what? They changed the rules. And guess who got chewed up? The Harvey Weinsteins. And right? That's what the millennials did. And I look at, I'm Gen X. I'm just an independent observer of all this. But I look at this, this football coach, and I think, he changed football. Everybody is going to be looking for less Jim Harbaugh. Although Jim Harbaugh is going to be in big demand because it's not going to change that quick. Jim Harbaugh is going to be in big demand. He's probably going back to the NFL. But that kind of hard, red-assed kind of football coach thing, that was the expected, way that a coach was supposed to. I don't think so, man. I think they're going to start the Brandon Staley there in San Diego, and he might be in trouble too. But he is also of this new sort of type of coach. Not to the interesting level of that we got down there in Miami, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's fun. If the Miami Dolphins are a fun team, and I think I'm going to start rooting for the Miami Dolphins just because of that. They are a fun team. Tua Tagovailoa. It's the first time I ever really saw him. I mean, I've watched him play since he was in college, but I didn't know what his voice sounded like. I didn't know what he was like joking with his friends or hanging out with people. He's a good dude. I like him a lot. I like Tua a lot. Tyreek Hill, I don't. Tyreek Hill appear, and I got it right away. Because remember me, good judge of character. Tyreek Hill is using this platform of HBO Max's in season with the Miami Dolphins Hard Knocks. He is using this as some kind of character reformation, and it's really phony. Like they go, this is what Tyreek Hill does at home. And they go to Tyreek Hill's home, and he's sitting there with the laptop open with his wife, with the laptop open, and they're talking about business deals. But they are talking about them in a way that people who are not involved in business deals but are trying to make it seem like they know about business deals would talk about business deals. I think he literally says something like, yes, so then you're going to have to call back that guy and get all of those stocks to the place. Or something real ham-fisted. And then the narrator goes, Tyreek Hill isn't just an athlete. He's also a businessman. And then it cuts to Tyreek Hill, and he's like, yeah, I was kind of wild when I was younger, but now, as I get older, I've got to be a businessman, and I got to make money, and my girl here, she knows all about the business. And then they show his wife, who looks like a bottle service girl, right? She looks like just like that. Tyreek Hill's wife is like, yeah, I'm good at the business. I'm like, okay, I see what this is going to be. This is going to be Tyreek Hill taking the opportunity to try and present himself as a arch businessman. Dude, isn't it enough that you're probably the most unstoppable wide receiver in football? Come on. All right, what do we got? We got a minute and 10 seconds left here. Minute and 10 seconds against Green Bay. It's 29-14. The Lions have the ball. The Lions are driving. Look, they just did it on Sunday. They just came back from an even crazier deficit. No, actually, I don't know if it was a crazier deficit. Anyway, they came back on Sunday against the Bears. That game was over with like 3 minutes left in the game. The Bears had a 98.5% chance of winning with 3 minutes left in the game. And we're kind of in the same situation again. Oh, no. All right. Sorry, I'm distracted. What was I talking about? Was I talking about anything important? I don't know. I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat something. I'm going to go eat something. All right, guys, I'm going to jump back on and off probably. I don't know about the 9 o'clock show, but who knows? I'll let you know. Keep it here. Follow, like, tip the show if you can. We'd appreciate that. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I meant it what I said earlier. I really do appreciate all you. And I really am thankful for all of this good stuff. All right. No theme song, no close. We're just going to get out of here. Love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.